Warning. Warning. This is not a test. This is not a test.
From the simulators to your screens, this is the pinnacle of iRacing competition. Welcome to the Full-Length Cup Challenge. Witness the dedication, the strategy, the sheer speed. The show starts now.
Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Maconi Entertainment, and welcome to the Full-Length Cup Challenge All-Star Race. Tonight, we have the best of the best from the FLC competing in some rather different machinery. Tonight, these drivers have a full-length Indy 500 in front of them. So let's see how this is going to go tonight. My name is Ron Mullins. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Kirk Mills. DJ Line is our producer for tonight's broadcast. Well, Kirk, this is going to be some fun. We're in my wheelhouse running at the fantastic Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a track that I've had the privilege of visiting on several occasions, here with my version of heaven on earth, a full-length Indy 500. This is going to be some fun.
I hope it is, that's for sure. We got a lot of cars out here that are very fast and some of the best in the Full-Length Cup Challenge, and they're going to be coming out here in a car that they don't normally handle very well, and they're going to try their best to be able to tame this giant old 2.5 mile weird looking oval looking thing, whatever you want to call it. 9.2 degrees in the corners, and these things are fast. You're going to hit top speeds around 230, 220, something like that. They're pretty fast cars, and it's going to be exciting to see how they handle it.
Yeah, and really looking forward to this race here this evening. This is going to be some fun. You can see all the information for this race coming up. 200 laps, no stages like the usual Cup races, and a prize pool of $200 to the winner at the end of it all. Of course, open setups and no fast repairs allotted to these racers, which is going to add to the challenge and the trouble that these drivers may face in this race coming up here this evening. The Indy 500 and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is always an absolute menace. If you even just look at some of these corners just a little bit wrong, hey, in real life qualifying for the Indy 500 just today, we saw some pretty wild crashes, especially with Colin Herta going up in the air and flipping his way through the South Chute earlier on today. So if that doesn't tell you what you need to know about this track, I really don't know what would. But before we talk about some of the challenges here, let's take a look at the starting grid for this race. Adam Benefield will grab the pole. Lucas Hoytsma going to join him on the front row. Some very fast drivers in the FLCC world making up the front row. Starting behind them, we got Ralph Hutchinson starting in P3 next to Larry McDonald in the number 80 car starting this race in 4th. Right behind those two drivers on the 3rd row, we've got Bobby Anderson, series admin, and Jason S. Taylor in the number 60 car starting this race in 5th and 6th respectively. Looking right behind them, we've got Billy Brickley in the number 44 and Jacob Simpson in the number 2 starting this race right towards the front of the field. And rounding out our top 10, we've got Cody Porter and Dave Hoytsma.
Starting in the 11th place spot will be Cliff Mullins in that number 82 from Virginia, with Daniel Llewellyn to his outside in the 07 from Texas. Starting in 13th will be Neil Pearson from Australia in the number 62. To his outside will be Matthew Long in the 28 car. Starting in the 15th place spot, it's going to be Andrew Dyson from Australia, and to his outside will be Cameron Stone from Virginia. Starting in 17th tonight will be Dylan Kritz from the Midwest, and to his outside, Corey Cook from the Carolinas. Starting in 19th will be Jeremy Clapper Newell from Canada, and starting to his outside, our last starter of the field, I believe, is Victor Pfluger from the West, number 43.
And so those are your 20 starters set to get 200 laps of racing action started in a couple of moments' time. See these drivers already on their warm-up lap, racing for the green flag here in a couple of moments' time, Kirk, a race which is going to be packed full of challenges.
That's for sure. You got a lot of racing to come here, and luckily for us is there's no stages, so it's going to be a whole lot more strategy-based. Might be able to do something different than the fastest guys and still end up winning these types of races. Got to get lucky with the cautions. We got a kind of a smaller field with 20 cars out here on a racetrack. Normally we'd get about 33, but that just means that we're going to have a little bit tighter up towards the front. There's going to be some cars that have a better chance than others. As we saw in practice, a lot of them tend to have faster times up towards the front of the field. We'll see if anyone can charge from the back to get to the front. But as they come through turn 3 right now, and I'm getting excited. We're about to get this Indy 500 underway.
Yeah, about to get up and rolling for the greatest spectacle of racing here on the iRacing platform tonight on Maconi Entertainment. This is going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Ever since Ray Haroon won the first Indy 500 all the way back in 1911, it has seen some absolutely amazing racing action. And I have a feeling that here in the sim, we have got a barn burner of a race for all of you here this evening. That pace car making the turn to come down pit lane, the field now in the hands of our front row sitters, waiting for that green flag to come out, which it has now, and the drivers are on their way in a 2x2 pack, heading their way down into turn number 1. It's Hoytsma and Benefield side by side, and their way off into turn number 1 through the south end of the track right now. Looking through the rest of the field, they head their way through the first turn clean. Let's see how they negotiate turn number 2. It's Hoytsma and Benefield still side by side as they head their way on the backstretch.
Benefield got really loose off the corner of turn 2. He lost a couple spots. That puts Lucas Hoytsma out to the lead, and new second place Larry McDonald as they head into turn 3 and 4 for the first time today. Side-by-side battle for the third place spot. You see Jason S. Taylor on the top, Jedi Taylor, and on the bottom, Benefield just really loose. Can't seem to get a grip as he comes off the corner. He started up in the pole position, but he drops to outside the top 5 when they cross the stripe. Lucas Hoytsma leads lap 1.
And clicking about 220 miles an hour as a lead car heading down into turn number 1. These drivers going to be hauling the mail all throughout tonight's race. In the draft, going to see speeds a lot higher than that as these drivers head their way onto the back straightaway for the first time at full song and at full speed. We're going to see the likes of Billy Brickley scrape up into the 230s, but we may end up seeing these drivers take the conservative approach in the earlier stages of this race. Don't want to push it too hard. Maybe got to start to think about fuel saving very very early on. Strategy super important in this race, but for the time being, guys, start to see that game of leapfrog develop at the front of the field. Hoytsma going to lead the second lap. We've got McDonald in the number 80 car with a mega lift down into turn number 1. You can hear him off the gas in the top of 6th gear, running strong still and just enjoying the tow off the back of the number 97. Jason S. Taylor setting the 5th lap of the race last time by in the process, but these drivers still running hard.
Yeah, running hard, but I think that they're also getting settled. Now that they got single file here, I mean, they got pretty comfortable right now. They should be changing that map setting inside that car, trying to make sure that these Indy cars use the right amount of gas. You got to go a long way, no stages. You can't just have one pit stop and call it good. You got to plan the whole 200 laps. Right now, there's one car that seems to be running way outside of the groove towards the back of the field, and that's Dave Hoytsma and that 07 back here in the back of the field. This is the only place where I'm seeing double wide racing all throughout this field. Up in front of these guys, still single file, as they are almost 3 wide as they head through that corner. Dave nearly hits the wall. He hangs on to it, still heading through the corner on the bottom of the racetrack. Now Daniel Llewellyn trying to make the bottom line work as well.
Yeah, it's a 2x2 pack coming out turn number 2, down the back straightaway off into the north end of the track. They single file out between those two racers. They single file out between all of them just about. Still some side-by-side racing going on a little bit farther in the back. As shot some drivers scraping the wall as well. Gonna start to see the challenges of this racetrack really rear their ugly head. The conditions not the best in the world either for these competitors either. Scraping about 103 degrees Fahrenheit with 15-mile-an-hour winds. Heading through some of these corners at a steady clip, well over 200 miles an hour. That is not going to help you out at all. We're going to start to see these drivers really have to struggle and really saw the steering wheels. We're following Stone in P13.
Cameron Stone's on board. At this point, he's just in a good position. He's trying to save some gas. He's got a lot of cars in front of him. He can save a lot of gas riding in behind in the draft just like that. But he's got to be able to get by this one car who seems to like running up on the top the whole time. He'll be able to get by him rather easily here. He'll have to hit the gas, get into a lower map to be able to get by him. But still, I mean, we got a long way to go. We got to be able to get to our first round of pit stops. And once we get to that area, we're going to start seeing exactly who's saving their stuff, who pits when. The strategy started when the green flag dropped as Dyson runs another fast lap. More cars high up into that. Oh my gosh, wall contact. Who is that in the yellow car?
I'm not sure who that was with a massive moment. That
Cameron
was Stone, yeah, with a huge one coming at turn number 2. It had to be a matter of millimeters between himself and that outside safer barrier. Those close calls going to be super tough, and here in the sim, as much as some of these drivers may have some faster pairs allotted to them in other events, not going to have any here tonight. If you wreck your race car, you are done for the day. These drivers have to walk around on eggshells in this race that we have right now. 194 laps left to go. They're already hauling the mail throughout the field. Lucas Hoytsma, still your race leader in front of McDonald in P2, and Jason Taylor rounding out your podium as it stands at the present moment, jumping up to these drivers at the front of the field and following that very striking purple number 97 car, punching that hole in the air and also allowing these front 4 to break away a little bit, with the gap between Brickley and Benefield stretching out to about a half a second.
There's definitely a gap in terms of ability in this field that you're going to start seeing over time. These front 4 guys, Hoytsma, Lucas Hoytsma, McDonald, Jedi Taylor, and even Benefield, a few other drivers that are here, they haven't really started going yet. Once we start seeing that, we might start seeing a little something different. As oh my gosh, we had another close call here back in the pack. Dylan Kritz almost made contact with the right rear wheel of Cliff Mullins, as now they're going to go 3 wide. He's in the wall. 3 wide down the back straightaway. In the wall goes Dylan Kritz. He hangs on to the car. They are still 3 wide as they hit turn number 3, now 2. Here they go, everybody hanging on to it. So far, I've only seen light wall contacts. Nobody has really dented anything too badly. Maybe Daniel Llewellyn had the worst one so far. He is currently sitting in 20th at the moment. But up towards the front, everybody is single filed out after that chaos. Still hanging onto their race cars with a long way to go before the end of this guy.
I think Mullins may have a little bit of damage. He pulled down to the inside line coming out of turn number 4 and is dropping down to P16 now. So something maybe a little bit sour with that number 82 car, but nonetheless still got some hard battling going on all throughout this field. These drivers tussling, they're risking it for the biscuit in the earlier stages of this race. This is Porter, who we ride on board with, tapping the brakes down into turn number 3, still hauling the mail about 219, 220 on corner exit, heading through the north end of the track. Porter occupying the final spot in inside the top 10, and he's got a lot of drivers looking to get past him. You got Long and Cook. Stone a little bit farther back, about 0.2 of a second, the gap between Cook and Stone. So we may end up seeing a swap-a-roo in the not too far off future between those two racers. Looking at two racers in front of them, that's Simpson and Anderson battling tooth and nail, heading through the south section of the racetrack. And it looks like that's going to be Anderson getting that move done with authority, and he's now going to try and look to go side by side with Adam Benefield down the backstretch into turn number 3. He gets a move done to jump his way up to 6th.
Throughout this field, it's really single filed up until you get it to about mid-pack, and that's whenever you start seeing guys trying to move their way forward, not feeling comfortable with where they're currently running. Seems like that the fastest car on the track, remember, and Dyson is sitting here in 20th right now. He's got a big toe off these guys, but he was running in the middle of the pack a little bit ago, but now he's actually let off, and I think he's actually letting these guys scoot out a little bit, so that way he has a little bit of buffer in case of an accident, because right now they are racing the wheels off of it in this mid-pack from like 15th on back to about maybe, let's try that again, from about maybe 7th on back to about 15th. So it makes sense why he's doing that. You can see it on your screen. They're all over the place right now.
And it is absolute pandemonium with these drivers trying moves into just about every single corner of the track. They're side by side, hand their way off through turn number 4, nearly 3-1 through turn number 4. Holy cow, these drivers are really running hard, but I feel like something's going to boil over soon here if these drivers don't settle down. They still got 190 laps of racing action. It's fantastic from our perspective here in the commentary booth, but for these drivers, their blood pressure probably a little bit higher than they probably had in mind, but still close quarter stuff all throughout this field. It looked like Benefield had some trouble on his hands heading his way off through the bottom end of the track. He's had a terrible run as Hoytsman and Anderson battling hard. That's Anderson jumping his way up to P1, and McDonald maybe got following suit.
He went from 4th to 1st in that lap alone. He was 4th place, now he's up to 1st. Bobby Anderson's going to come off turn 4, and he's going to be able to possibly lead his first lap, but here comes a good run from Lucas. Lucas is not going to take it. He's going to have just stick right behind him, save that gas, and keep going. Looks like that Bobby just said, I'm going to take the lead for a little while, guys. Let me go ahead and lead this now. Because these front guys are playing a game. It's really a game of who wants to save the most and where do you want to ride. You can choose to go and try to get up to the front, but if you do, you're going to absolutely regret it later on. We'll have to see how it turns out for everybody who's pushing hard. But right now, Bobby Anderson feeling like he's going to be able to keep that $200 for winning the race if he can hang on to where he's at for the entirety of the duration of the next 186, 187 laps, however many we got left. We'll get down to it. But single file through the whole field. This is just the part where we're going to have to sit back, relax, and watch these guys save some gas unless they get too close. Remember, they are going 220. So any mistake does multiply quite a bit.
Oh, as you can see, a big moment heading through turn number 1 and 2. That's a car with a big amount of damage hitting the outside wall. That, I believe, may have been Daniel Lawala, and you can see the nose askew on that 07 car. He's had a big moment heading all through the south end of the racetrack. Gonna take a look at a replay to see what happened to him. Here it was, down that start-finish straightaway, off into turn at number 1. It was a check up in front of him, and he nearly popped his way up into the air. Let's take a look at it. You can see hitting the wall in front of him and ramping into the back. That broke the nose off of it, and very lucky that didn't result in a huge one heading through the south chute.
Yeah, that was Victor Pfluger that he that checked up in front of him. Victor hit that curbing there. That sent him up wide. He had to let off and did not let off enough. That broke his left front wing. You see how hard he has to turn to be able to keep the car to go straight. And right now he is currently in pit lane. He's going to try and get that car fixed, but he's the only one I'm aware of right now. And we stay green after that, so you can see he's dragging the nose. He's going to have to get a new nose cone. He's going to have a little bit of time in the pit lane to be able to get these repairs, but it is something that can be repaired. I don't think he has that much suspension damage, just a little bit of cosmetic that can most certainly be repaired. As everybody else continues on, he will be the first car that is one lap down. They cross the stripe. Up front still, Bobby Anderson leads here at Indianapolis.
And Anderson probably being the music to the ears of Lucas Hoytsman, who was punching the hole in the air in the earlier stages of this race. Very happy to get a bit of a toe off a driver, but you can see that snake already forming, heading his way down the back straightaway. Anderson really trying to break the draft and not give any drivers the draft. That's what we're seeing right now from Anderson. He is hoping that he can get the good fuel mileage and make sure everyone else gets terrible fuel mileage. I'm not sure if breaking at the snake heading down these straightaways is really the smart call with 185 laps still left to go, but who knows? Let's see if it works for Anderson.
Yeah, they call it the snake because it looks like a dang snake when it goes down a straightaway. He's trying to break the air off the draft. To those of you who've never seen an Indianapolis 500 before, it's very common. You'll see that a lot, especially later this month when they're doing it for real. This is just a tactic they normally use late race. They still use it in the mid race as well, but it's most certainly used more aggressively on the last handful of laps by the leaders. But what I can tell you right now is it's odd to see it this early. I didn't expect that out of the gate. Not sure entirely why that may be the case, but we did have a new fast lap. Clapper Newell ran it, so it could be that we have a faster pace in the field. So we'll have to see if that continues on. Still up front, Anderson, Hoytsma, McDonald, Taylor, Brickley, and Hutchinson is top 6 right now. Still all single file.
Yeah, and some drivers sent some good laps. How's Andrew Dyson, the number 41 car, currently sliding P17, setting the fastest lap of the race last time by. So those cars a little bit farther in the back, getting the most amount of drive, probably getting the best fuel numbers, and also just holding the mail, heading off through some of these corners. It is some good racing that we've got up to this point, but it is definitely settling down. I think these drivers have learned their lesson after the being and banging and roughing each other up, drivers coming to blows and banging doors as if they were in stock cars, except doing it in an open wheel car at a steady click at 230. Probably not the best strategy to do for a whole 200 lap long race. I'm not sure. I mean, very good reason why I'm behind the microphone instead of behind the wheel. If I was one of these drivers, though, and I was being banging and roughing each other up for a whole 200 lap long Indy 500, I don't think my heart could take that.
I don't think I could either, but I can tell you right now, give you a quick update on the Daniel Llewellyn vehicle. They came out of the pits quick enough to where they're currently entering turn 1 as the leaders entering into off turn 4. So they have a whole straightaway advantage over the leader. So I don't think that he's going to be able to get past necessarily that quickly, but without that draft, he's going to be sitting duck. So he's going to have to hope for a greatly timed caution to be able to get the wave around to get back into this race.
Yeah, at this point, you get to the point if you have a moment earlier on, you just have to hope for a miracle. That's exactly what Daniel Llewellyn finds himself in at the present moment. Tough start for him. Still a long way left to go, which is a double-edged sword because sometimes you think, okay, there's time to make up the lost time, but at the same time, there's so much longer left in this race for it to just be done and over with. So tough moment for Llewellyn to get taken out of contention in the early stages, but hey, still have some time left to go in this race. Yeah, exactly. Don't count him out. You can never count anybody out. Jacques Villeneuve, in his one Indy 500 win here back in 1995, came back after picking up a 2-lap penalty. So anything could happen here at Indy.
Yeah, that's true. One thing I always mention whenever I go to these tracks is that whenever you see only one car, oh, well, here we go. Now we got another car trying to come down the pit lane. Here comes Victor Pfluger. He was the other car. He sustained rear wing damage, and he was really slow. He's coming down to probably get that damage repaired, get some new tires, come back out there on a racetrack. Still green as of the current moment.
Still running green after the hecticness we've seen already in this race.
Corey Cook, turn number, what is that? That's turn 4, I think. Corey Cook, he's on the apron of the racetrack, broken left front wing, he's completely around. He was racing for 14th, and he was 3 wide with Neil Pearson down the back straightaway into turn 3. Corey Cook hit the wall, and that's what happened there. Neil Pearson also has a little bit of damage as well. We'll take a look at that again if we rewind. We'll see it right here. They go 3 wide. Corey Cook's going to hit the wall on his own. He didn't get forced into it, but when he got into the wall, slight contact, broke the car, and he just rode the wall, spun out, and that will do it for him. No caution because no cars were coming. So that will keep us green and take out Corey Cook.
And Neil Pearson also picked up a bit of front wing damage in the midst of all of that as well. Bit of netcode contact, at least from my end, on iRacing. Not entirely sure if that reflects from our producer's perspective on the broadcast, but nonetheless, Corey Cook getting some big damage as a result of all that. And with a little bit of wheel damage involved in all that, that's going to be a healthy run through pit lane. A long stop here for the number 61. Tough to have this happen early on in this race as Pfluger is now 2 laps down, currently classed in 20th. So lots of these drivers learning the hard way that Indy can bite.
Oh, it sure can. It could give you your dreams wild. It could give you a great feeling to your wildest dreams. It can also crush your dreams. So up front though, Anderson he's been able to control this field really well ever since he took the lead about maybe 10 laps ago or so. And since then, he's just been snaking it up and down this racetrack. And I think he's just having some fun, maybe listening to Shaboom inside of that race car. Just life could be a dream down the backstretch.
When it comes to the musical references, I am about as tone deaf as you could possibly get, so I am not even going to touch any of the musical references with a 10-foot pole, because I'll probably make myself out to be a fool. Instead, though, we got a little bit of snaking still going on between these drivers at the front. Exactly. Anderson, he is still holding on to the lead, but Hoytsma still within striking distance as well. That gap has really not ballooned out over a quarter of a second between these two drivers ever since Anderson got that move done to jump into the race lead. McDonald within striking distance as well, but you can see Anderson still running a bit of a snake heading down the straightaways, and it gets to the point where that's probably doing him more harm than good. He's adding more distance to his lap, which may not seem like much, but hey, the amount of close quarters, fuel mileage finishes in the history of the Indy 500, if that teaches you anything, any sort of added distance by weaving heading down some of the straightaways, as much as he's not giving the draft to Hoytsma, or not giving as much of a draft to Hoytsma as he would otherwise, that's probably also hurting him at the end of the day.
Probably, that's absolutely right. And when you're pushing the cars as hard as they are as well with these custom sets, you typically have a choice of whether you want to, make the car just wear out the left front, the right front or the right rear, depending on which tire you like to lean on. And most folks like to be a little safer and put that weight on the right front, so that way you can be. Oh, we got a meatball flag, Dave Hoytsma. We haven't heard about that yet. What's going on with Dave? Let's take a look here. He's in the pit lane. Let's take a look here. It looks like he was on track a lap earlier. Oh, he got turned on the back straightaway for back in 14th spot. Him and Cliff Mullins.
Ooh. And it was a huge hit for Hoytsma into the inside wall, broke off the right rear tire, and Mullins coming in like an Exocet missile, really nothing that he could do. You can see the contact with Hoytsma and then bang into the back of him. Nothing he could have done. Hoytsma with a huge hit into those inside tire bundles. That was the same section of the racetrack that I think Brad Keselowski got caught up in many, many moons ago at the Brickyard 400 and nearly ended up on his side. They had to change those a couple of years later. But then Felix Rosenquist, I believe, had a similar moment like that in his rookie year back in 2019 during a practice crash. So a big moment for those two competitors. Cliff Mullins getting some rather major damage. That is just about going to take Dave Hoytsma out of contention. Any sort of wheel damage, getting a wheel removed, there is only so much you can repair when it comes to the damage here. And again, no fast repairs allotted to these racers today. So that's going to be game, set, match for him. McDonald and Benefield side by side at the front of the field, though. And that's Benefield getting the move done.
Absolutely. Now that he's moved up an extra spot, we're getting down to the point where we're going to start seeing some pit stops here in the next 10 or 20 so laps, something like that. What I can tell you right now is a driver I want to keep an eye on all day. I have a weird feeling about him. I'm going to call him out now. I think a driver I'd like to watch is Billy Brickley in that 44 car. He's always kind of an underdog in the FLCC. He came out here, qualified, and he just hit the wall. My God, can you imagine that? Take a look at that. He just slammed the wall right after that. That's terrible. You hate to see it. He has a little bit of right side damage. He's able to keep it going, lost a couple spots. We'll see if he's able to keep back going. But I still want to watch him all day. I think he's going to be a driver to watch.
And hopefully that's the only commentator chinks that's going to come down like a falling anvil and strike him on top of the head.
It happens
Still
every
running good
time,
at the present. Oh, man, I've pulled off some absolutely horrendous commentator jinxes. He may lose a spot to the 2 of Simpson heading down into turn number 1. Brickley holding his own on the outside line, but there's only so much he can do. Nearly coming to blows. Coming out turn number 1 through the south chute now. And it looks like Simpson going to get a nose out just barely as they head their way through turn number 2. And a big moment there for Porter on corner exits.
Porter hung on to it. He did a good job hanging on to it. The reason why I picked him was because he normally has some trouble in the FLCC. Doesn't seem to get to the end of the race, but he was running pretty good, top 5. So I was like, let's give him a shot. Come on, let's see it. And there you go. But still, he's got a little bit of damage. He's going to have to come down whenever fuel stops come down. He'll have to get that right side hopefully fixed up. It is repairable, though. still side by side, trying to hang on to the race car. He's pushing tight now, which is the issue that we had before. Cameron Stone on board now. You can take a look at him. He's feathering the throttle is what we like to call it when you get in and out of the throttle. But Cameron Stone right here, he's about to get past on the inside. Here comes Ralph Hutchinson trying to make a move to the bottom. He backs out of it, thinks better of it. Remember, he's sitting here in 7th right now watching these top 6 go at it. 3 packs of 3, and they're hanging on to the race car.
You see, Kirk, my racing background would have me say that that's pedaling, as Anderson has actually come down pit lane from the race lead. So that's rather interesting. I wonder if this is a regular pit strategy. It may end up being for him. I'm not sure, though. I've seen some drivers stretch their fuel out a lot longer than this, so this has to be some sort of conscious call from Anderson, unless he really underfueled that car at the start of this race, hoping to have an early yellow, but he's coming down pit lane, looking to hit his marks well. I was doing a 100-lap-long IndyCar broadcast here at the IMS Oval a couple of days ago, and the amount of drivers that I saw miss their pit box was absolutely unbelievable, so understandably so, taking it easy was Bobby Anderson as he went to his stall.
He's going to have the leaders coming up on his rear bumper right now. Leader just crossed start-finish line just then, entering turn 1. He's going on the exit of turn 1 right now. We got another car down pit lane. That's Larry McDonald trying to come down, get some tires and gas. Pit stops have opened up, and remember, they can flip the whole race or put it on their own way, but the 30, 31 laps so far are the times that we start to see cars come down pit lane. Battle for the lead, though, on the back straightaway. Here comes to the inside. It's Lucas Hoytsma. Lucas Hoytsma takes the lead away from Adam Benefield.
Hoytsma gets it done in the number 97 to jump his way up into the race lead, but as they head their way out of the final corner, who's going to make that call to pit? It's going to be Hoytsma. Lucas Hoytsma coming down the pits from the race lead. That is going to be a call that other drivers make, and you can see coming in right behind that, I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken, right behind him is Brickley. So those two cars coming down in the pits together from what is now 12th and 13th in this race. Let's see how they shake out compared to the rest of the drivers who have come down pit lane already. Gotta say, in all of that, it has worked out rather well for Anderson, but now that we have more drivers coming into the pits that were representatives at the front of the field, we may end up seeing a bit of a shakeroo here. Hoytsma out and away. Brickley taking much longer in the pits. Something's wrong here with the number 44, 13.8 seconds.
He was repairing his
pit
car.
Box. Yeah, that had to have been repairs.
Yep, we also had a couple more of the leaders come down. Benefield came down. Dylan Kritz, Matthew Long. These guys are all on pit road now. I think everybody's already doing their first stop of the day. So we're seeing about, from this range, about 30 laps for the run so far. I haven't seen anybody stay out longer than that. We got Jedi Taylor and Ralph Hutchinson out there still leading this thing. He's right now entering turn number 3, it looks like. He being Jedi Taylor. Once these guys get back out here on the front stretch, we'll see if he comes back down. And it looks like he will. So Jedi's coming down. So is Ralph Hutchinson. So is Cameron Stone. So is Jacob Simpson. And so is Neil Pierce, the whole field. Here comes everybody else. They're coming down this time.
Oh, and Simpson with a double front lockup as he hit that pit lane speed line. Unlike the Cup cars that these drivers usually run in, they do have the benefit of a pit limiter, but during green flag pit stops, trying to spot that line where you have to hit that button can be a little bit difficult. I've seen plenty of drivers get caught out by that in real life and in the sim. As you can see, this is an awful run for the 60. He misses his marks in pit lane, and that's going to cause his stop to be much longer than his competitors. Out and away is the 2, out and away is the 04. There goes the 60, losing out on a boatload of time as a result of all that. That could have been a lot worse, but could have also been a heck of a lot better.
Yep, that could have been a whole lot better. You're absolutely right. But just to give you the last car that stayed out the longest right here, lap 36, 37, that's going to be the latest pit stall, Andrew Dyson. Remember, he was in the back of the field, and he had a fast lap early on. He still has the fastest lap. And he's pulling a different strategy than everyone else. He's the only one on this long strat. We'll see if it works out for him, as it looks like Lucas Hoytsma will be taking over the lead once they cross back across the stripe.
And you can see it's not by much as Anderson is running right there in tow in I gotta say, a very tasteful, I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken, that is an old era McLaren livery that they never ran in the Indy 500. I think that was just a testing and testing only paint scheme back in 2020, if my memory serves me correctly. I'm an IndyCar nerd. I hope you're not too upset about the rest of this going on throughout this race, as Anderson got to look to jump into the race lead, and he gets it done down into turn number 3. Bobby Anderson back in a familiar spot. We're going to take a quick commercial break with 164 laps left.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back again here at Indianapolis for the full-length Cup Challenge All-Star Race. It's a full-length Indy 500. We have 159 laps left to go. It's Bobby Anderson in the race lead. Lucas Hoythma, who briefly regained the lead through the pit cycle we had not terribly long ago, is now slotted in P2. You can see the rest of the field still running in tow. The snake kind of still in effect in a very small way compared to what it was once before. Just a small little wiggle heading down the straightaways, Kirk.
That's right, but it's working out for him. He took the lead back from Lucas Hoytsma, and now him and about 8 cars are now in this front pack. You see right there on your screen, 8 of these cars are in the top 8. So we got Bobby Anderson, Lucas Hoytsma, Matthew Long, Dylan Kritz, Adam Benefiel, Ralph Hutchinson, Simpson's out here, and then Neil Pearson. These are the guys that are currently sitting in a good position where they're in contention. About 3/10 back, you got Porter there as well. But further back, we have a lot of issues. Now we're looking on board Andrew Dyson, who had a penalty under that last round of pit stops on pit exit. He had to come right back down pit lane, and he's still on the lead lap. However, he's at the tail end of the lead lap. Luckily for him, he is about another maybe let's say about 10 or 11 seconds before the leader can catch up to him. So he's just got to be able to hang out there and try and last as long as he can.
And still holding his own. These drivers have had a clean start to this race. A couple drivers taken out of contention. You can see Mullins, Hoytsma, Cook, and Fluger have DNF'd from this race. And Daniel Llewellyn in the 07 car, your last place runner at the present moment, ran into some difficulties heading through the South Chute at a pretty big moment in his own regard, running into the back of the number 43 of Fluger. Fluger, the first retirement from this race, going to be classed down in 20th. And these drivers looking for a race win, not only for bragging rights, so win a full-length Indy 500 here on iRacing, but also for $200 at the end of it all as well. Daniel Llewellyn making another call to come into the pits in the 07 car. He was one of the first drivers to come in as a result of that front wing damage, so I believe this is an on-cycle pit stop as you see another driver run into some difficulties hitting his marks on pit lane.
It is true. Yep, this is on cycle for him. He will be the first car one lap down at the current moment. So when he gets back out there on the racetrack, he should not, I don't believe, have too much issue with, he has to stay on the lead lap. But the only way he's able to come back is if he stays only one lap down instead of two. Leaders are coming down the straightaway right now. You see he's on the exit of turn one, so he should be able to stay on the lead lap at this point. By just about a few seconds, but not by much. As long as he's able to get a good run down the back, we'll have to see. But still up front, everybody is single filed out, and that a few more cars have caught up to the back of this lead group. You see Cameron Stone there now. You got Taylor, Jedi Taylor now. All these guys are still sticking up as we got another battle there. We got Stone going past Porter just like that, going up another spot. But behind them, the whole field is gone and spread out. We got McDonald and Brickley, 14-second backs each. Both of them had to repair some damage. Jeremy Clapper Newell's also further back. And then, of course, Dyson had the penalty, with Llewellyn also just taking his pit stop after his incident. Remember, we have not had a single caution all day so far here at Indy, but the entirety of the front 8 or 9, let's make sure I get the right number here. Let's say 10, the front 10. So half the field is still in contention at the present moment. To be able to have a chance at getting the lead at any time they want to push. And may end up seeing these drivers make that push between now and the checkered flag. The allure of winning $200 at the end of this race not going to be lost on any of these competitors. And we've reached that point in this race where these drivers are just looking to make it to the checkered flag. To finish first you have to finish. I've read that in Fortune Cookie before, and that really rings true when it comes to the Indy 500. You see it a lot in real life, and you see it in the sim as well. Drivers who want to battle tooth and nail, lead every single lap, and put on a fiery battle. It's fantastic for us in the commentary booth, but that's usually not a winning strategy. I think these drivers have realized that with some of the drama that's going on throughout this field in the early stages. They're thinking, you know what, hey, we've got the first eighth of the race taken care of. May as well start to take it a little bit easier. I say eighth, it's a quarter of the race already taken care of. You could tell I was great at math class as a kid. No, I could tell very clearly. You're all good, my man. I do the same thing. But I can tell you right now, the single file line like this, you're going to see the snake happen a lot. But I'm just excited to see who wants to make the first move. Right now, we got Ron likes math. Yes, Ron likes math. I love it. Okay, that's my new catchphrase for Ron. Here you go, Ron. You like math. I like it. Good one. All right, so doing the snake is just going to be the art form of entertainment for the evening. Just, a little bit of Benny Hill theme song with that would be quite entertaining, in my opinion. Copyright reasons, I don't think we could play it, but here we are. Still single file for the front 10. And who's going to make the first move? Who do you think's going to be the guy? Here, Ron.
I have a feeling it's going to be the number 64 of Crits, potentially. He's been seeing Anderson and Hoytsma battle tooth and nail, and you can see the massive game of Snake heading down that start-finish straight away off into turn number 1. Anderson's feeling the burn and feeling the pressure. Hoytsma's going tit for tat with him when it comes to that weaving game. I think Crits in the number 64 car, he's playing that patient game. He's running in tow. He's getting those good fuel numbers as well, and you can see he's not really chasing that draft too badly. Could be worse, could be a heck of a lot worse. So I think at the moment, the number 64 of Crits may be the driver I want to keep my eyes on. And running at the top 4, got Adam Benefield, the number 83 car. And talk about a driver who's had a roller coaster ride thus far in this race. Started up towards the front, started on the front row for that matter. Then he dropped down and nearly fell completely outside the top 10. He's back up to 4th, and he's still got a very fast race car, does the number 83. So we may have to keep tabs on him as well.
It's so unusual to see these guys in Indy cars. being, the full-length Cup Challenge is all about the Cup Series. Do all that swerving. They drafted like a caterpillar. Have you ever seen a caterpillar's draft, Ron? Has that ever happened? That's my question I got for you right now. Have you seen a caterpillar draft anything?
You know, I can't say I have, if I am being completely honest, albeit, living in the city of Philadelphia, I've seen something far, far worse. Some side-by-side racing, Benefield licking the stamp and setting it down into turn number 1. He books his way up into P3. Benefield really pouncing on the 64 of crits. That drafting game gang oh so strong, heading down that start-finish straightaway off into turn number 1. So that's going to allow Benefield to jump his way up to P3. Anderson and Hoytsma still running P1 and P2. Anderson taking the defensive approach, though, down into turn number 3. I think that driver, the number 5, starting to feel that pressure, starting to feel the burn a little bit more, and maybe he's going to let Hoytsma go by. He's thinking, you know what, I've spent a lot of this race punching that hole in the air. I don't want to be the hole punch anymore. I want to get the good fuel numbers. Benefield, though, looking for it on P2, heading down into turn number 1. Round the outside of Lucas Hoytsma he goes, and the 83 of Benefield got to jump his way to second.
I guess he just got sick of us talking about caterpillars. Look at him go up to second from 4th after all that. Trying to catch back down Anderson. He put on the gas, put on a little bit of show for us. Thank you. Good to see. Let's see it. Come on, move up towards the front. He's got a little bit of ways to go to catch down Bobby. He's going to have to get a good run here, and I think he's building it right now. He's going to have a run when he comes off turn 4 here. You're going to see it. He's going to gain a little bit of time, but also remember, leader's getting a draft right now off of Llewellyn, I believe, here sitting in 16th, 1 lap down. He's going to be a lapper in the way here in a minute. He wasn't able to get there this time. Benefield is who we're talking about. But everybody else still staying single file. They're coming up on this lapper. We'll have to see which direction that lapper takes.
I believe that may be the blue and white car of Daniel Llewellyn, the 07, who ran some difficulties a little bit earlier on, coming back involved in this battle. Cody Porter has run into some difficulties in the 04 car, and you can see him on pit lane right about now. So looks like that car is running not very good, and based off the fact he spent 16, now come up to 22nd down in pit lane, something must have gone wrong with him.
He spun out on the entry to turn 3. He clipped the grass coming off the exit of the corner. He got loose. He did kind of what Larson did in practice a couple days ago. He saved a race car, though, which is different than Larson. Yeah, turn 3 on lap 53 is when it happened. You'll see it right here. He clips the apron here. He's going to get a little loose. Car goes around on him. He hangs on to the dang thing, doesn't wreck it, and he's good to keep going. Get some tires on that thing and send that baby back into turn 1. See what happens. Working out for him so far.
I will say with that rejoin, though, he should be counting his lucky stars that Larry McDonald was only about 2/3 of a way down the back straightaway. Otherwise, that probably would have been an airplane crash heading off through the north end of the track. Side by side at the front of the field, that's Benefield looking to jump into the race lead with a move around the outside. A slight puff of the barrier coming out of it. Scrapes the concrete, but he scrapes his way up to P1 now. Anderson with a run, heading down the back straightaway. Benefield taking that defensive line on the inside. Anderson looking to haul the mail through the corner. They nearly come to blows about 5 times on turn in, but Anderson jumps up into the lead as Benefield with a snap. He saved it. How the hell did he do that?
Oh, by hitting the brake hard enough. You know, in the sim, you can hit the brake hard on anything and it won't spin. That's the truth of the matter. These pros know it. You get the car slightly sideways, you slam that brake, it ain't turning around nowhere. It just works out for you, especially if you crank you got all your brake in the front end. Oh yeah, it'll stop for you. It worked out. So take a look. He got in the corner, he hit that little apron, he got a little loose, still trying to save it. Slam on the brake, and he got right back going. Good on him. Had to ship back down to 3rd, which is terrible. Oh gosh, I hate having to do that in a race car. Going from 5th down to 3rd. Oh, that's not a good feeling.
His veins are full of adrenaline, and his pants are full with the people with the. Damn it! I messed up the joke. Let me try that one again. His veins are full of adrenaline, and his pants are full of the stuff that they say is fertilizer at the garden center. There we go. Second tries a charm on that joke. As I completely throw that one away, Anderson is still in the race lead. Did not throw away his chances of doing well, and the fact that he was able to get as good of a run as he did heading down that back straightaway is truly unbelievable. Kicked on the hyperjets for sure, heading down out of turn number 2.
He was planning it the whole time. You can set up these passes laps before you actually make the move. It just depends on where you're on the racetrack, and as if you got a fast car underneath you. And remember, he almost spun the dang thing, and he's still within this lead pack draft, so he still has a chance here. He'll catch back up. He's making a move down to turn 1 to the bottom of it looks like Jedi Taylor. He just moved up from 10th to 9th, and he's going to try and crawl his way back up to the top spot. He's going to have a little time to be able to do that. But he's driving a very loose race car right now, which is dangerous. We saw earlier. However, man, I got to tell you, that was one of the best comments I've ever heard. That was pretty good about fertilizer. Well done.
Yeah, and it was a very good joke once I got my tongue unwrapped around my teeth, and I was finally able to spit my words out in the correct order. So it took me long enough, but I got there eventually. Some racing still going on all throughout this field. Looking at a bit of a breakaway at the north end, and hearing from our producer that the YouTube chat absolutely loved the word salad that came out of my mouth a couple of moments ago. I am paid to yap on the internet, and clearly not paid to talk about fertilizer, which is a good reason why my job at the garden center at Home Depot, my job application got rejected there, so that's the reason why I've had to become a commentator. Nevertheless, though, at the front of the field, Anderson and Hoytsma breaking away a little bit. You can see that gap has ballooned up between themselves and the 28 of long. About a second and a half, in fact, between P2 and P3. So Anderson and Hoytsma running a pack by themselves. May feel a little bit lonely here soon. Hoytsma certainly will, as Anderson's come down pit lane with a big double lockup on entry.
Already down pit lane, Bobby Anderson. Well, it makes sense. Remember, he came down pit road on lap 170, around one lap, well, with 170 laps to go, lap 30-ish. But now we're on lap 60, so it's expected for him to come back. I think he's pitting every 30 or 31 laps or so. He's the first one to come back down, which is what we saw before, and we'll see it again. Cycle of pit stops ready to begin once again here at Indy for the Full-Length Cup Challenge. And remember, the winner of this race gets $200. Second place, guess what they get? Whole bunch of nothing. We don't care for second. We want to see who's going to win this thing. They come off turn 4. Nobody else is choosing to come down in the front 9. So they're going to be 3 wide for the lead for a moment there, as it looks like the new leader is Matthew Long. Went around the high side. He was able to do it.
Oh, as you can see, scraping the wall, there's the 07 of Llewellyn. Very fitting. I realized the pun after saying it, but it's still some close quarter stuff all throughout this field. Long and Hoytsma covered by nothing, and Crit's involved in this battle as well. He may try and stick his nose in all of it. At the end of it all, I was thinking, okay, as soon as I said that Chris was going to do well, he started to drop back. So I was thinking, you know what? The immediate commentator's jinx from him, but now not going to get it. So let's see how it's going to shake out for the number 64. Still has a fast race car, has a rocket ship underneath him. 139 laps left to go in this race, now 138. And we're seeing Adam Benefiel also get back way back up to the front. Adam's Benefiel Revenge Tour in full force. That's definitely what we're seeing. That 83 car is quick.
Yeah, he's listening to the highway to the danger zone in that car right now, going through the back 10. All the way up to the front for the back caution. First caution of the day, thank God. Who was it? Somebody got loose in turns 3 and 4. We'll have to take a look.
Not entirely sure who that was with a moment heading through the north end of the track. That was a big moment, though.
I think it was Jeremy Clapper Newell, I think. He got loose, but I don't know if that would bring up the caution. I mean, we'll have to look and see what caused that one. Yeah, he got loose on the exit of, like, 3, but I don't think that should have brought out a caution.
I think it may have been with a lead pack coming up in tow, following a very similar path to what we saw earlier on. And yeah, let's take a look at this replay. You can see he loses it on the exit of turn number 3, takes a slide and nearly follows the exact same tire tracks that were laid down earlier on, but as he was slow on the infield, and right as we saw maybe a rather perfectly timed stop heading through into the pits, that I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken, at the time of that yellow coming out was Larry McDonald, who came down the pits in the number 80 car. Did he get away with that?
No, I don't think so. I think he got passed lap down. It's possible. I don't think he's on the lead lap anymore. We'll have to see if he is. We're going to have pit stops now for the front group, but the real winner here in terms of pit stops, Bobby Anderson. He doesn't have to stop again, and he can save all the gas he wants, so he's going to be in a good spot.
As we see these drivers slowly trundle down pit lane, it's the first yellow of this race. They all come in. It would be really unfortunate to have a pit lane speeding penalty, but hey, I've seen it under yellow before, so I wouldn't necessarily rule it out. As we see them come into the pits now, it's Long in front of Hoytsma. Long stops in his pit stall there, looking to see how these drivers hit their marks. That's already been a factor thus far in this race. You could do a whole lot of practice, but in race conditions, that extra pressure may cause you to hit your marks just a little bit flunky, and then you're going to be in for a world of trouble. It looks like it's going to be a pretty good jump there and a pretty bad run through the pits for Hoytsma. He's going to come out in P3. As with those drivers coming out of the pits, we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back with the restart.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Back again here at Indianapolis, about to get them racked up for the first restart of the day. It was an incident heading through the south end of the track that brings out the first yellow of this full-length Cup Challenge All-Star race. It's got to be Long at the front of the field, already gunning it. The green flag is back out, the driver's back on their way. That's a pretty good restart there from Hoytsma, trying to make up the ground. You can see that lap car there from McDonald splitting some of these drivers. So Hoytsma looking to try and get that jump early, and he gets it done rather well. Long still holding on to the race lead. Crit's in the number 64 car involved in that battle as well.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, Jacob Simpson turned into a lawnmower down into turn number 1. He went through the grass, hung onto the race car. Up front still, these guys all over the place. Top 5, 6, they're all trying to make up their spots. Man, side by side almost for the lead, trying to make the outside work in that yellow car. Or is this for the backpack? This is the backpack, sorry. That was Simpson that we were talking about a moment ago. he had to check up quite a bit, and the rest of the field gets stacked up behind him, which is why there's that big gap between these guys and the leaders.
Yeah, certainly broken up a little bit. Is this field on this restart with 133 laps left to go? Still plenty of time left to see some battles develop. But you can see it right now, a bit of a hornet's nest forming just barely inside the top 10. You can see these drivers still battling tooth and nail. It's Lawal and then Clapper Newell battling hard down into turn number 3. Those two battling for P14 and P15 in this race. Both of them are 1 lap down, mind you. So not a lot of skin in the game when it comes to those two drivers battling. But hey, they have some wave rounds to talk about between now and the end of this race. There's still a lot of time left to go. Long holding on to the race lead. Kritz now jumping into P2. You can see Hutchinson and Hoytsma still involved in this battle as well.
The front group here, about 4 cars, have all gotten real singled filed out, but everybody else has just got one job on their mind. They got to get back from 3 seconds back and catch back up to this pack of 5. You don't want these guys getting too far out in advance. I understand we got 1 lapper in this group, but they do not want to let them go too far by themselves. So we'll have to see if they're able to catch him back down. Right now, that last lap time led by Adam Benefield, running in 5th place right now compared to the car in front of him, was 4/10 faster. And this time across the line, he ran a 41.3. Leaders were running 41.6s, so 3/10 faster that time. So we'll see if he's here in a few moments. We'll start seeing Adam catch back up to the back of this field, and he's going to bring in all the rest of these cars in his tow.
Yeah, once you get that draft, you're going to just close up that gap in the blink of an eye. Will we see them get, though, is a real question that I've got in my mind. It's about 2 seconds between Hoytsma and Benefield. Not a completely insurmountable gap, but it may require a bit of pseudo-teamwork between these competitors to close up that gap and have a better hope of doing well. That or another yellow will certainly change the complexion of all of this battling as well. Hutchinson looking to maybe get a move done on Kritz down into turn number 1. He's gonna go on the inside line. Kritz holding his own on the outside, but it may be Hutchinson jumping into P2, allowing Long to extend that gap a little bit, so the gap between Long and the rest of the field elongating as they head down the backstretch.
That gap, though, between 5th place and 4th place is closing. It's already going to be real close by the time they get there. We just had a pass there for the 5th place spot. You saw Simpson get by Benefield, but they still are making up good time, and they're going to be there. They're already there. They already caught the back end of the draft here. Now it's just a single file train of about 12 cars, all the way back to Billy Brickley, who's still in the race. My pick. He's my guy. I'm going to see how he does. Hopefully, we'll see. But we also got a battle right now for the free pass coming up here in a little while. Or I mean, Lucky Dog. If we have, I think we have Lucky Dog in this one. Do we? Or do we have waiver rounds?
Yeah, it's the guy who's in here for the next 2 weeks as our esteemed colleague here at Maconi Entertainment, Mr. Justin Prince, is busy with some obligations covering some SRO races down in Sebring, Florida. I'm looking through right now. I will have to get back to you on that. I'm not entirely sure if there is a waiver round here, as looking at some racing down into turn number 1. It's really starting to flare up with this pack.
Oh, yeah, forget the waiver round right now. I mean, we might need it in a minute, but for right now, keeping a camera on this pack right here, do not change the view. We got a heck of a view right now. These guys single file here on the straightaways, but the moment they get to the corners, man, it's just chaos. These guys are trying to find a line that works best for them, make moves. They check up to not ram into the guy in front of them, and that causes somebody to try and make a move behind them. It's a lot of cause and effect here in a big pack like this. Here they come down a straightaway, trying to gain some runs. Here we go down to the bottom. Benefield trying to take the lead away into turn 1, and he will do it very easily.
And getting that move done with rather...
great car! Yeah,
God,
Larry McDonald, hard. He was a lap down, but he hit the wall so hard on the exit of turn 1. He's dropping back like a rock. Sorry to interrupt you there, but that was just hard contact for that green number 80.
Yeah, now that could have ended an absolute disaster. No worries there, Kirk. If that resulted in a stack up, we could have seen a driver go up into low Earth orbit with contact to the back of him. So very lucky that they all got away with one there. Jeremy Clapper Newell has run into some major difficulties. He's now 5 laps down, so not sure what's happened to the driver of the number 67, who is still on only 1 lap down, not terribly long ago. So not sure what the deal is with the 67, but regardless, it's still close quarters stuff at the front. Benefield and Long covered by about 0.4 of a second, heading their way out of turn number 2 onto the backstretch. Got Hutchinson and Critz still involved in that. Lucas Hoisman, the number 97 car, a very quick driver in the FLCC world, whether it be in the Cup Series or the Xfinity Series or here in these Indy cars for the All-Star race. That number 97 driver knows how to fight.
He knows how to get to the front at the end of the races, that's for sure. He's won a bunch in both the FLCC and the Xfinity Series they run in here. But this is the first time that we've seen them race in the IndyCar. And last week we were talking to him, and he said it's not a common experience to see him in the IndyCar. So it's kind of like kind of an experiment here with these guys. They don't normally run this, but Adam seems to be really showing them what for. He's pulled out a little bit of a gap between first and second. In that gold 83 for Team Conti Sim Performance, showing them what they got out front. Seems to be something that's a little loose. We saw earlier, almost wrecked on the same corner we just went through, 3 and 4. But now he's leading this thing with looks like 125 laps to go. And remember, we got 30 lap pit stop cycles right now is where we're at. So we'll have to see when everybody starts coming down. It'll be a little while, but maybe another 15 or 20 laps, something like that, before we see him back down again. But his strategy is really opened up, because I don't know exactly if they're going to be able to have a fuel mileage race or not if we stay green to the end from here.
And one driver I'm keeping my eyes on as we are in the midst of this stint is going to be your 10th place runner, the number 5 car of Bobby Anderson. He came into the pits right before that first yellow of this race came out, and that did not work out well for him at all. He found himself in 10th presently, came into the pits from the race lead. Now he finds himself in a rather unfamiliar position after starting this race in a rather decent spot. He started this race, I believe, taking a look at my numbers right here, he started this race all the way up in P5. So running down in 10th, getting a lot of dirty air on his nose. He's going to have to deal with a completely different race car compared to what he's been used to.
Dirty air is the worst thing that you got to experience in sim racing, in my opinion, other than you got the intentional crash that happens every now and again. But I mean, other than that, dirty air is my arch nemesis. I despise it, and so do most drivers. We always complain about how it makes the car push. It makes the car want to get tight whenever you're trying to get up behind somebody. We have somebody coming down pit lane before we get too much into that. Blue car, it looks like that is Daniel Llewellyn. Remember, he was just 1 lap down. He's coming down to get tires and gas this time. I don't believe he hit the wall or anything. He doesn't seem to have that any damage. So we'll see if he's just getting tires or if he's done for the day.
Yeah, and Llewellyn massively off cycle after an early incident that broke off the nose cone of that race car, the 07 car, back up on the jacks. Gonna be spending his time down in the pits yet again. And I gotta feel bad for him in a situation like this. I talked about this a little bit earlier on. You have the double-sided emotions. You think, okay, having an incident in the earlier stages, I still have a lot of time left to battle hard. I shared the story of Jacques Villeneuve winning the Indy 500 here back in 1995, how he won it after going 2 laps down in the earlier stages of that race. But at the same time, you've got the yang of it where you're thinking, oh man, I am already on the back foot and I've got 185 laps left to go. You get both sides of the emotions when it comes to something like that. So Llewellyn certainly feeling the roller coaster here, and it looked like a rather sketchy pit exit. I think he got away with one there, but regardless, just not a day to remember if you're Daniel Llewellyn, at least for now.
That's for sure. He's going to have to, he's in a good position though. I like where he's at. He's going to have to do something special to make this work out for him in the long run. It'd be exciting to see, as they still are battling 2 and 3, 2 wide here in the back of this field. Not sure exactly. Wow, my golly, these guys driving like crazy back here in the back 10s. What are we doing? Take a second, take a breather, get yourself a sip of that macchiato you keep in the car, guys. Come on. Let's ride. We're driving open wheels today. You don't got no Busch Light in the car, you got a macchiato. Let's relax, calm down for a moment. You got single file to handle for a little while. Save some gas while you're at it. You're in the back of the field. Come on. Phil, up front, Benefield, Long, Hutchinson. That's your top 3.
I think a macchiato is a coffee drink. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not even an expert in the stuff that.
It's a reference to the Talladega Nights, you know, with what's his name? So Ricky Bobby, like he's the American one, and then of course we got what's the name of the Frenchie? Whatever his name was. He was the guy drinking a macchiato in his car. Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I think
Jean Girard.
Yeah, Jean Girard, played by Sacha Baron Cohen. That was just an absolute staple of a movie. You know, whenever it's a good thing that we're referencing NASCAR movies, because when it comes to IndyCar movies, I think we've got Driven, and that's about it. Have you ever seen Driven, Kirk?
No, I don't watch IndyCar driving movies, unfortunately. It's not a part of my encyclopedia of film. But right now we're seeing our own movie on track. There you go. I like to call this The Snake. That's the horror film we're watching right now. All you get to see is a little bit of snaking, but today, hey, look, that snake's really calm. He's asleep right now. He ain't slithering. No, he's just staying single file. His tail broken too. Don't worry about it. Here they go into 3.
And continuing on with the Snake movies, I'd reference the Samuel L. Jackson line, but I'm not sure if that could be aired, so we'll swiftly and abruptly move on and talk about Adam Benefield in the number 83 car after having that code brand moment heading through the north end of the track, which spawned a horrendously delivered line from me. He's been able to recover back up into the race lead. The 83 of Benefield is strong in this race. He's a quick contender. Was your, I believe, your pole sitter heading into this race. I will double check that just to be super clear. Yes, he was. Started from the pole in this race, was also rather quick in the practice session, setting the 3rd fastest time. So Benefield definitely has a very quick race car in the Ford, the 83 underneath him.
Oh yeah, he's running just fine. Having a good day, fast car under his boots, trying to make sure it sticks under there. But car has really moved his way forward. Dylan Kritz, he started 17th, he's running 4th. We also have Matthew Long, started 14th. He is up to 2nd. And I missed his comment. I wish I would have saw it. What did he say? I was excited. I want to bring that thing back up here in a minute. But we got everybody still single file, trying to save tire, trying to save gas. Remember, it's all for $200. You win this race, you get some money, honey. But then, if you finish 2nd, go home. Get out of here. Apparently, we're being told it's some sort of steak knives for 2nd. In 3rd place, you get fired. So there you go.
I wonder what happens if you end up in 4th. That would, I mean, if you get fired at 3rd, I'm pretty sure probably down in 10th, they'd probably send you off into like the Chernobyl exclusion zone or something like that. Just be with like the radiated wolves.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. Don't need to hurt nobody. That's still all right. These guys still, I don't understand this open wheel junk as much as I do the closed wheel. Still racing. I always believe that. These guys have like nerves of steel in the real life stuff. It's just, I can't imagine how crazy it would be to be like this, where you're sitting in the middle of this pack, air just beating off your car on all sides, trying to get you loose, and you're still trying to hang on to the thing, going 210. It's nuts. I don't understand it.
You know, as someone who grew up on open wheel racing, I gotta say, there is nothing that will draw more bizarre noises out of me than watching an IndyCar run around a racetrack at a steady clip of 230 miles an hour. Some of the high-pitched squeaks that I let out as these drivers get oh so close to the wall in qualifying trim. It's something that can probably be harvested by doctors to dissolve kidney stones, but nonetheless, it just still speaks to the bravery that these drivers have to put in, both in the sim and in real life, to put in the quickest speeds they can imagine. Not really setting lap record pace here is Adam Benefield. You can see him with the throttle cracked open a little bit, heading down that backstretch off into turn number 3. Just barely above 210 miles an hour scraping. I think Benefield is maybe thinking about the fuel game here.
Everybody's been thinking about fuel. If they weren't, they'd be driving like crazy. They're still single file for now. Once they come down pit lane, I want to see it. I want to see these guys get on down pit lane, get some tires and gas, see who makes a mistake and who doesn't. It's about consistency. No stages means don't screw up. You got a long way to go, buddy.
Still a lot of time left for these competitors. There's no points, just throwing it away. But just because we haven't hit the halfway mark doesn't mean these drivers aren't risking it for the biscuit or risking it for the Triscuit if they're feeling the low-calorie option. It's still going to be fun, though, between now and the end of this race. 113 coming to 112 to go. It's Benefiel in the race lead, long slotted in P2. Hutchinson, Kritz, and Hoytsma riding at your top 5 as it stands at the present moment. The 2-car, though, of Jacob Simpson. I haven't really talked about him too much in this race thus far here, Kirk, but I have a feeling that he is going to be a good contender at the end of this race. He's within striking distance, has the fastest lap of the race. We may have to talk about him.
Well, we might have to. The snake woke up, by the way. You see it? It's all over the dang racetrack. He went below the white line for a minute there. Remember, we're watching this movie. Got to 12 cars go around this track for the next 3 hours. I got to tell you right now, it's exciting when that snake likes to wake up, because you can start to see it when they hit their fuel number. They start freaking out like that. Look at that. That snake really, the head separated from the rest of the body for a second. That third place car, Ralph Hutchinson, though, has a good run. He might be looking to try and take second away if he's like lining it up just right, I think. What would you think there? I don't know if Ron here would know. He says he likes open wheel a whole lot. You could be a lot more the expert on this stuff. I'm more on the oval NASCAR junk. But, I mean, what do you, as a driver in this situation, golly, what the heck happened to this guy?
The fact that he only has a missing left-hand side, right-hand side of his front wing is unbelievable. That's Billy Brickley. He's had a moment heading his way off through turn number 2. You can see him running wide off into the gray stuff. Looks fine heading through turn number 1, then off into 2, already sideways through the turn, hits the grass, avoids the outside wall, locks it down, and boink into the wall, breaks off that car very briefly. So thankfully iRacing having mercy with him. So not a lot of damage done to the 44, but still enough, and enough time lost whereby he is going to be feeling the burn throughout the rest of the night. You can see a massive front lockup trying to get that thing loaded up, heading down into the corner. But with that incident taken care of, Kirk, I'll ask you to repeat your question, and feel free to ask me it as many times as you want.
All right, I'll ask you in a minute. Up here, we got Matthew Long. He's catching back up all over the rear bumper here. I hate to see Billy Brickley getting involved in that incident. I hate to see it. Not something we like to see. Hopefully he can get that car fixed and still compete at a high level. But, I mean, my question is when you're leading this pack, I mean, isn't it counterintuitive to want to be doing the snake like that? I mean, doesn't it scrub speed as well?
You know what? When it comes to an oval race, it can definitely scrub off some speed. It's definitely going to also hurt your fuel mileage as well, just adding distance and adding in some scrub. These cars get the best fuel mileage when they're running in a straight line with a car punching the hole in the air, maybe a couple of cars punching the hole in the air right in front of them. That's usually when these cars get the best fuel mileage. When you're heading down the one punching the hole in the air and just weaving your way back and forth, weaving around the back straightaway or the start-finish straightaway for that matter, it's not going to help out your case too much. And one thing to raise as well when it comes to these Indy cars, as much as it may be sim racing, when it comes to the Indy cars, you have to think about exhaustion a little bit. These cars don't have power steering in real life. They don't have it in the sim. So the force feedback that these drivers get through the wheel is really tough, as we just saw Jason Taylor get a move done on long to jump his way up into P2. He may try and get a move done for the race lead. He pulls out the drift of Benefiel heading down the start-finish straightaway, the 60 with a run, and he's going to get that move done comfortably so, heading down into turn number 1.
The force is strong with this one. You saw it, Jedi to the lead, leading this thing. He probably feels so dang good inside that race car leading this thing. But you got to remember, when you're the leader, like you're talking about, he's punching the hole for everybody else. So maybe that's not such a good thing when you got 107 laps to go. I don't know. I mean, I wish I did. I've only ever competed in one of these things myself. Got 5th. That didn't matter, though. It was like 50th split. Didn't matter. It was just fun. But these guys out here are competing for real prize money. Out here for $200. I mean, what are they going to do with that $200? Who knows? I mean, I know exactly what my guy, Cameron Stone, will do with about $200. And I don't know if I'll be able to say it on the broadcast, but he'll get what I mean when he watches it back.
You know, there's a joke that can be made about spending $200, but I'm not sure I'm going to make it because I made a joke very similar to that a couple of weeks ago for a race that wasn't paying out at the end of the day, and I got told by my producer that I walked up to the line of things you can say on the air and stood directly on it, so I'm going to swiftly and abruptly move on. Taylor is your race leader. Benefiel slotted in P2. Yeah, that's my thoughts exactly. The sad horn. I can say that joke, but I'm not sure if I will, as Benefiel and Taylor briefly side by side. Benefiel getting his way back up into the race lead in the 83 car. We're getting to the point where these drivers are going to play that game of leapfrog at a steady click of 220 miles an hour.
Man, now that we're single file, like, oh, maybe not. Here comes Jedi right back on Adam. Man, he's going to try to go back down the bottom. It works. And now they're going to start swapping. Back and forth, back and forth. Man, pick a spot. Where do you want to run, all right? Just pick it and ride, and we'll see how it lasts. That's how it works. We're coming close to pit stops, though. I'm excited for that. Waiting on our first pit stop of the day. There we go again. Adam back down to the bottom. It seems like they're just trading spots like they're playing poker. Here's your card, here's my card. Here's your card, here's my card. I'll take the lead this time. You take it next time. That's how it works. Seems to be that's the way it is up front right now. Third place, Matthew. Wonder what he's thinking right now. He's just probably hoping they both wreck each other on accident.
I mean, hey, it's Indy. We've seen far more shocking moments here over the years in real life and in the sim. So you can't discount anything going on between now and the end of this race. Rapidly approaching upon the halfway mark, 104 laps to go, coming to 103 this time by as there's Benefiel coming into the pits.
Yeah, there we go. That's the first one of the round, and that means that Adam Benefiel's going to be taking tires and gas first. We'll see how it works out for him.
So here we go. The pit stops have now officially begun. I wonder when we're going to see Anderson come into the pits, because he was the one that came into the pits the first half just about anybody, as you can see that stopped car of Brickley there. There's the 83 heading his marks up on the jacks right about now, so that is going to be a pretty quick stop from Benefiel. 8.5 seconds, 9.6 seconds in the pit stall. Out and away he goes. That's going to be quick. Let's see if he will be joined in the pits by just about anybody. Looks like we have McDonald coming into the pits a little bit farther in the back of shot. You can see him in the bright green number 80 car come in, but he's down in 12th, so not going to be too big of a factor in terms of deciding who's going to be leading it at this point. But Anderson was the first to come in during that last cycle. Got screwed over a little bit with that yellow, but he will probably be the next to come into the pits just based off time.
I mean, he's in a good position right now. If I were like Jedi up here in the lead, I'd decide to come down this time. He's got a big gap back to second. This is probably going to be your best bet. You're going to have a lot less yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's doing it now. Oh, he faked him out. Oh, that was cool. Hey, he faked me out too. Larry McDonald's coming down though. Matthew Long's coming back down pit lane, so he faked me out pretty good.
Hey, that threw me for a loop as well. You see that a lot in real life. Some drivers trying to throw each other the dummy. As we take a look at this moment in the replay, you can see heading his way off through the final corner, slowing down, just below that yellow line. That move nowadays would be illegal in real life, and in the sim, though, you're going to get away with that rather scot-free. That's a dangerous game to play, though. You play that too many times, and you are going to be met with a rather formidable fellow to stop you from doing that again, and that formidable fellow is a impact into the pit attenuator at about 220 miles an hour.
A formidable fellow. It sounds like something you'd put as a MySpace bio. That's an
Invoking the 1920s radio terminology here.
Sorry, man. That was just formidable fellow. Never heard that one before. But look at the lead that we got Jedi right now. Jedi is out in front by 2 seconds over the rest of the field. What is he doing right now? He's just got all this gap in it. What is he going to be doing with it? Is he going to come down to get tires now? I mean, it'd be smart. Yeah, there you go. Now he's doing it.
So there we go. Down in pit lane comes the number 60 of Taylor. That will allow Hutchinson to jump into the race lead. Kritz to P2 and Hoytma to third. But here comes the number 60 of Jason S. Taylor. This is going to be a good run through pit lane. And seeing the chat that we've got here, DJ, if you're calling me old for saying, well, is it fine fellow that I said a couple of moments ago? I can't even remember what I said. But you live and you learn. The number 60 out and away after spending a grand total of 9.8 seconds down in his pit stall. Not too bad for him overall.
Yeah, not bad. More cars coming down pit lane this time. That red car you're going to see come down pit lane. He hits his mark just fine. That's Hutchinson, followed by Bobby Anderson. They're in together. We got about, what are we at? 98 to go, 95 to go. What are we at? Yeah, 98 to go. That just means that they're pitting now. We got 35, 36 was the longest I've seen anybody run yet. That was with the run that we saw by, I think it was, where was the gentleman that got penalized? Do you remember? It was Dyson. Dyson had a 36 lap run on the first stint. I don't think anyone's gone any longer. So 36, and we'll see if, how that looks here in a minute. We'll be doing the math calculations, but everybody else coming down pit lane.
Yeah, the pit stops definitely continuing on here at Indianapolis, and you can see everybody coming into pit lane now. Kritz, Simpson, Cameron Stone, and Neil Pearson all coming down into the pits, basically in a nice little line. Hoytma going to stay out yet again, and this is a touch-and-go situation for these competitors as well. They don't want to overcook it through into pit lane. We've already seen some pit exit penalties. We've seen some pit entry penalties, and we've seen some drivers not pick up a penalty issued out by iRacing, but a penalty issued out by themselves because they missed their marks heading into their pit stall. That's a big factor in these races as well. Adam Benefiel going to jump up solidly up the running order. Think he'll be able to take P2 potentially from Taylor? No. It looks like that Jason S. Taylor has been able to jump in front of Benefiel as a yellow coming out.
Oh, man, that changes everything. We got a car here. Lucas Hoyt. Who is that?
That's a number 41 right there of Dyson.
Heavy damage.
And that, I believe,
I don't think that car is coming to get back rolling. No way.
Oh, no, that car is ready for the scrap heap. And let's take a look at the moment. You can see him on that warm-up lane coming out of the pits through the inside.
Oh, hit the grass.
Flips the grass and bang, a huge impact into that outside wall. And with those cars coming in suit as well, that could have been so much worse.
Oh, yeah. We got to look at the onboard of the car that was coming out, that was on track. He actually almost got, like, absolutely crushed there. I think the driver I want to look at is Bobby Anderson's onboard, actually, because that will probably be something worth looking at from out the front end of Bobby. Terrible hit. Hate to see it.
Man, that was a huge moment. A very easy mistake to make, though, heading through the warm-up lane. You don't have the assistance of banking. You don't really have the assistance of anything. And with the penalties that are on offer, you want to keep tight to that inside line. So that's going to be an unfortunate mistake for him to make. As we take a look at this from Bobby Anderson's perspective, bang, into the wall he goes. Oh, if Dyson was about 3 seconds longer through pit lane, that probably would have been Bobby Anderson T-boning him so hard it probably would have crashed both of their iRacing simulators.
I'm just happy to see that, like, you know, with this sim, we don't have that giant puddle of, like, you know, bits and pieces all over the track. He'd need to get himself some new tires after that because that was a lot of damage. He's out. Dyson's going to be out for the day, and you hate to see it. And so that's why pit lane is so treacherous, as they all come back down to get some tires and gas.
Yeah, just a quick little top up. It may not seem like much, but again, we talked about this a little bit earlier on in the broadcast. Kirk talking about how a couple of laps can make a huge difference at the end of these races. So as we see these drivers trundle their way into the pits, Jason S. Taylor stops in this pit stall, hitting the marks well in the 60. He's out and away after only 3.7 seconds. Hoytma with a pretty big jump, though, 2.9, and he's going to jump his way up into the race lead. Benefiel going to lose out on some spots. Matthew Long jumping into the final podium. So that is a big moment from Hoytsma to jump his way back into the race lead. That number 97 car has been quick all throughout this race, and we're expecting it a lot throughout the second half. But as we brace for this restart, going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
You want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back, everybody, to the full-length Cup Challenge All-Star Race. It's a full-length Indy 500. Already have a lot of this race in a rear-view mirror, but still just about one more half of it left to go. It's Lucas Hoytsma who will lead us back to green. Taylor going to be slotted in P2 with Matthew Long running at your top 3 on this restart. Myself, Ron Mons, and Kirk Mills with you in the commentary booth tonight with DJ Line working on the cameras in the virtual production hauler. But here we go, that pace car coming back down pit lane. This is the second restart that we have had today, and let's see how it goes for these drivers. Hoytsma's gunned it. The green flag is back at the drivers back on their way. Benefield jumping out of line big time. I thought he was going to hit the inside pit wall, but he jumps out running in P5 at the present moment. That 83 car is a rocket ship, so we may have to talk about him right towards the end of this race. Lots of good drivers at the north end of this field, and all of them with a nice pack heading down the backstretch.
Getting up to speed. That's what it's all about. Right now, they're barely hitting top speed. Now they finally got there heading into turn 3. They are now at full speed, ready to go. So up front, same guys that we've seen all day. Haven't really seen too much change up towards the front, but I do have some good news for some of you people out there. We got one car in the wall back there. Actually, that's not the good news, but we'll get back to it. I think that was Llewellyn that may have gotten into the wall. I have to double check to make sure of that, but he's able to keep it straight and keep it going green. Speaking of the good news is that him and Larry McDonald are both now back on the lead lap after being one lap down the last run. So they are back in contention, in the pack, having a chance to be a part of this fight for the win.
Yeah, just being in the discussion for the race win at the end of this race. You don't need to be out here leading all the laps, just putting in a clinic on this field. You can be there right at the very end, and that can help you out a whole lot at the end of this race. 92 laps to go, coming to 91 this time by. We got a peloton forming at the front of the field with Taylor, Hoytsma, Long, and Benefield. Breaking away from Simpson in the number 2 car, running right behind. I gotta say, Jacob Simpson, a driver who I'd like to keep tabs on just because he has the number 2, and back in my karting days I always ran the number 2. He currently has the fastest lap of the race as well, so clearly that car is a rocket ship.
Yeah, he might have a fast car, but remember, Simpson is a guy who really likes to be overly aggressive. You'll see that later in this race. I think that 2 car is going to do whatever it takes to win this race in terms of physical aggression. He might have a good car underneath him, but no matter what, he's going to be willing to do some things other drivers might not to try and win, which is sometimes a detriment, as it looks like right now he's got a car trying to pass him on the bottom. Here comes Crits down to the bottom, back for the 5th place spot. He makes the job work, and back goes Simpson, one more spot to 6th.
And not going to be a good run for him, but hey, this game of leapfrog that we're going to see all throughout this race, going to be a good one. It's like the old childhood playground game, except it's being done at about 220 miles an hour, and one mistake will lead to a sickening collision with an outside safer barrier. Don't see that a lot in the playground. I'm not sure if safer barriers have ever made their appearance in a playground, but before I get too caught up in talking about safer barriers and the history of them, which, believe me, I can go off on a tangent about that. We've got side-by-side fight with Pearson and Simpson, heading down the start-finish straightaway with Pearson getting that move done to jump his way up to P6 and drop Simpson down to 7th.
Simpson now dropping back even further. I don't know what's up with Simpson's car. He's seems to be dropping back a lot further than what we'd expect out of him, so we'll see if he's able to recover well. The good news is that from this last restart, these guys were able to make it on 2 more stops. And that's just if they run 33 laps, green flag, all the way hard out, they'll be able to do it. We saw them make it about 36 laps before on the long run. So they are not going to be a fuel mileage race in the event, unless we get a caution at an odd time, at which point then maybe. But right now it's not looking like a fuel mileage race. These guys got about 2 stops left to go before they are racing it to the end.
Still a couple stops left to go, so it's not the balls to the wall flat out run to the checkered flag, but these drivers are certainly looking to set themselves up as well as possible for the very end. Taylor still your race leader, Hoytsma slot in 2nd, Long rounding out your top 3. This is a good battle that we've got going on between these competitors, and all of them have shown their pace already, so I have a feeling they're going to be definitely in the discussion come time for the end, as long as they don't completely botch the pit stops, which, as we've seen already in this race, can be done with quite a lot of ease.
Yeah, we saw a car just take himself out of the race. Dyson, when he clipped the grass, it took him out. Also included a couple other cars. Whenever you're in the pit lanes, you could get a penalty. That also affected Dyson. Pit road was Dyson's undoing today. So, hate to see it, but battle for the 3rd space spot. Here comes Benefield back down to the bottom, trying to make a move for 3rd. He'll get the job done. Back goes Matthew Long, back to 4th.
And more overtakes going on between these racers. That game of leapfrog still very much on Taylor, Hoytsma, Benefield, Long, and Crits running at the top 5 presently. It's a pack forming, though, at the front of the field. And you can see Bobby Anderson back involved in all this as well. He's still on the comeback after being involved in a rather bad pit cycle a couple of times ago. Came into the pits under green while everyone else had the benefit of coming in under a yellow a couple of laps later. So Anderson still on the hunt, still on the charge to get back up to the front of the field. I think he's getting more and more comfortable with that car in the dirty air. These cars certainly driving a lot differently than how they did a matter of some 115 laps ago when the green flag came out for these racers. And speaking of 115, that's the current track temperature, 115 Fahrenheit, even hotter than it was at the drop of the green flag. So really getting warm out there.
A little surprisingly, actually. It's supposed to get a little bit warmer even before the end of this race, so we're going to even get a little bit more heat into this track. But the wind has still been constant, 14 miles an hour, still pushing these cars to the northwest. Since we're talking about the weather, that's one of the few things we love talking about when we're talking about race cars, seeing how the weather affects them. And no one likes to have, there's never going to be a perfect world where you're going to have 70 sunny and really, really clear day, no wind at all. It's so hard to be able to get that in real life, but in here you just got to click the button to make it happen. But the folks at the Full Length Cup Challenge love making it realistic, so they always go with a realistic view. As we got a battle now for 5th, here comes Bobby Anderson back down to the bottom, trying to make the bottom work. However, the outside line is going to prevail. See that? That is Crits hanging on to 5th after battling hard on the outside line.
And with those northwesternly winds, that is going to make the north end of the track super, super tough. Heading through turn number 3, gonna get a tailwind push on corner exit. Roundabout here is when these drivers pick up that wind and they just skate their way coming out of that corner. Really gonna feel like the cars are driving these drivers instead of the drivers driving the cars. I feel like that makes absolutely no sense, but makes perfect sense at the same time. Sometimes you're gonna see these race cars basically say, you know what, you may be behind the wheel, but I can decide where this race car goes, and the next thing you know, you're going to see them hit the wall at a steady click of about 225. Oh, that could have ended in tears with Kritz and Anderson. It was a couple of inches between those two cars, and now Pearson closing up to the 5 as well.
Yeah, hard racing now. I mean, remember, they still got about, they're gonna have a few laps of a buffer between each stop. So if you go like 35, you might be able to just go 30 at the end. But with 2 extra stops, that means that you're getting just barely almost out of gas, so it won't make you go longer than 200. So still not too worried about it. They're still single file. Most of these guys are trying to just stay in the main lead draft. And it's just a waiting game now. Got to sit back, relax, just enjoy the lovely sounds these race cars make when they come on by, just whizzing on by, and hope that nobody makes any mistakes. We have one car trying to make his way up to the front. We've talked about already, Bobby Anderson. But every time he's trying to make a move on Kritz, it just can't seem to get the job done.
And you brought up a very good point there, Kirk, talking about the absolutely wonderful sounds of these race cars. I'm actually curious, DJ, maybe we can crank up the engine sounds and hear the vrooming of these race cars around here. Bobby Anderson looking to get a move done on Kritz as we heard that drive-by heading through turn number 3. And that's Anderson jumping his way up into 5th, and Kritz dropping down to P6. It's still going to be a good battle between those competitors between now and the end of this race, though. It is going to be some fun as Benefiel maybe trying to go for a 2-for-1 deal. Look at Anderson with a massive run heading down that start-finish straightaway. Holy cow, Kirk.
Yeah, he's pulling it. He's pulling it hard. He's getting it going, pulling that car towards the front. That's what he's doing. He tied a rope to the front of the back bumper of the first place car, and he's pulling on it, trying to get back up towards the front. Side by side for the lead, though, here comes Adam Benefiel. Remember, once Adam takes this lead, he normally scoots away. But another battle for second. There he goes. It's Bobby down to the bottom from 4th. He's trying to make a move for second. He has to tug in behind the third place car. Second place car sitting in 3rd. So now Adam Benefiel, as expected, has lengthened his lead out quite a bit compared to the rest of the field. But Bobby's trying to get on by to the inside of Jedi Taylor. He's going to make the job work down on the bottom of the racetrack. Still even, not going to work this time. Still side by side through turns 2, trying to make it work. And will he clear him? Barely. He got it that time.
It was a matter of a couple of feet, though, between the back end of Anderson's race car and the front nose cone of Taylor, so definitely not a lot of separation, but hey, it's close margins here at Indy. Gonna see that a lot throughout the final 80 laps of this race. Some battling involving Hoytsma and Long going to result in Hoytsma running in P4 and Long in the final spot inside the top 5, but it is still a hornet's nest at the front of this field. Benefiel in the race lead, but he's got a very antsy Bobby Anderson running in 2nd. He's been looking to get into a position like this ever since he got screwed out of a pretty rough pit cycle not terribly long ago. Got dropped down. I believe at one point he was running as far down as 12th, if my memory serves me correctly. If he was running down there at this point, he would be the last car out there on the racetrack. So Anderson looking to have a bounce back, and as it stands presently, running in P2 with about a 10th and a half the gap between himself and Benefiel. I think he has a fantastic shot to do it, heading his way out of turn number 4 onto the start-finish straightaway. Benefiel jerking to the inside line. Anderson looking for a move around the outside down into turn number 1. Benefiel got to lift out, slip back in tow as Long and Taylor battle hard into turn number 1, and that's going to be Long jumping his way up to 3rd.
Bobby Anderson went from the about mid-pack all the way up to the lead from 6th place in the last handful of laps, and I'm just going to tell you, he's not going to lift for love, money, or common sense. He's going to handle this lead at any cost. He's just going to hold the ass down to the floor, and he's going to see what he can do. You know, it's one of those things that you like to see. And whenever he made that pass on Adam, you know, that's what you call a haymaker pass. He threw it from the moon, and it just landed in turn 2. So that's how it worked. But here comes Adam right back on the outside trying to make it work into turn 1. I think he's got to be able to hang on to it. That's a really shallow entry by Bobby coming out of turn number 1. Hangs on to it, but Adam got it. What a move.
Oh, that was super, super close on separation as they headed their way through the south chute down into turn number 2. And now here comes Long trying to get a move done around the outside of Anderson. Down that back straightaway into turn number 3. And with the tailwind assistance, Long got to jump his way up to second. He may try and go for a move on Benefiel as well. With that tailwind down into turn 3, got the opposite effect. These drivers are running straight into the wind down here into turn number 1. That's part of the reason why Benefiel's a sitting duck. That's also the reason why Long trying to get that move done down the inside into turn number 1, and he books it into the race lead. Long up in the front.
Wow, man, what a move. But on the outside, man, you see that Adam try to get a good run on the back straightaway, and he's going to go down to the bottom. He's going to be side by side into turn number 3. These top 3 have started really racing them pretty hard, which is good. We're starting to see some good stuff up towards the front of this field. Back to the lead goes Adam Benefiel. And then you still got Matthew Long trying to make the outside line work on the exit of turn 4. He's going to have the right lane. He's side by side coming to the line. And it looks like that it will be Long leading that lap as, man, this is just great racing up front.
Oh, it's some absolutely fantastic racing. These drivers getting to the point where they're starting to throw caution to the wind with only 74 laps left to go in this. They're pushing it. They're trying to figure out where their limits are. Benefiel on the inside line, about a couple of lanes away from the grass, as Long on his outside down into turn number 3. This is a dangerous game that these drivers are playing, but they want to play it, and that is what will make or break their race. If they come to blows, no fast repairs allowed to these racers, so if they crash, they're done. Anderson, he's going to be looking at these two drivers go side by side all around this racetrack. They've been side by side for about a lap, and he's going to look to maybe pounce if they have a bit of drama. Look at that, Long with a run on the high side coming out of turn number 1. He'll be able to jump into the race lead. They finally single file out at the start of this lap, but Benefiel's in striking distance still.
Hey, he's just able to make a move on every single one of these corners, right? Hey, you know, you don't drive like that unless you got a death wish, a fast car, or an ex-wife in the pits, all right? That's the only reason that you'd be driving as fast as Adam Benefiel right now. So he's still taking this lead, and he's running away with it.
Well, first time I've ever heard that on the air. Thank you very much, Kirk, for that fine contribution to this broadcast. Some close quarters racing still all throughout this pack. I gotta say, one driver who I was saying that could get involved in this battle was Simpson in the 2. He's dropped down to 9, so these drivers clearly decided to play me like an absolute fiddle. We've still got some very quick drivers, though, at the front of this field, and I'm not keeping my eyes off Lucas Hoisma until that car ends up in the wall with a cloud of smoke and steam around him. We're only slotted in 5th. There he is in that very striking purple number 97 car. Hoisma, still a driver we should probably think about when it comes to battling for the win.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to pick one of these guys to win this thing, but they have done well at fighting clean up front. Here comes Matthew Long right back down to the bottom. They've been swapping spots back and forth this entire run here, so they've just been doing really well ever since Bobby Anderson got pow. Hang on, he went right back down to the bottom. He's loose. Saved it. Oh, no, he got turned hard into the inside wall, I think. That took him out.
Yep, that's game over for Adam Benefiel. That's probably going to bring a caution out. Yes, it has. The 3rd caution of this race coming out. And it's Adam Benefiel, who we thought was in a catbird seat to potentially win this race. Started from the pole. He's going to end it a DNF, though. Let's take a look at this moment. As they headed their way down that start-finish straightaway side by side, they were playing with fire. They were boiling that pasta, and it was only a matter of time before that pot finally boiled over and hit that griddle. Let's take a look at it. Tried to go for it on the inside, just too far off on the inside. I'm not sure if there was contact with the top of Bobby Anderson, but there was big contact with that inside tire barrier.
Yeah, Bobby Anderson, both of them have damage from that. So that was slight contact. I think Bobby's going to have to come down and get some damage repair, but that's just, you hate to see it. He was a fast guy out there. Let me just tell you, he was out here dominating this whole thing. He was the fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, but unfortunately, he was like the 8th fastest to self-destruct. You see that right there? And that takes him out of the race.
And right now, will we see these drivers come into the pits? It's a real question that I've got going on in my head, Kirk. If they came into the pits during this pit cycle, during this yellow cycle, I should say, they would have to pit, I believe, 2 times between now and the very end of this. I'm not sure if they would be able to stretch it out to go the entirety of the distance, but as they're trundling around this racetrack, Adam Benefield's already been cleared from the infield care center, and Kirk, actually, I will pass it off to you for an interview with him in a couple of moments once we see these drivers make their way through the pit. So clearly deciding that now is the time to come in. It had been quite some time since we last saw these competitors come into the pits, and it's being led by Matthew Long in the number 28 car, a driver who's really shown themselves to be a good contender right at the end of this race. The Liquid Death car avoiding death for now and still in the race lead, but all of these drivers making the pit stops. You can see the 07 coming in, finally on cycle. There's Anna Way. That right there is the number 28 of Long. Hoytsma jumping into the race lead as a result of him having a farther run down into the pits. There's the 28, there's the 60, there's the 97, and you can see the rest of the field coming through right now. But Kirk, I will pass it off to you to have a chat with Adam Benefield, who has to be kicking himself after that mistake.
For sure. Yep, we can definitely talk to him. Adam, you got a copy?
Oh, yeah.
All right, hey, Adam, tell me right here. I got to ask you here, can you describe what it felt like to lead a bunch of these laps and then just have that happen to you, unfortunately, coming off the corner? Is there anything you could have done differently?
I mean, dude, IndyCar racing isn't for me. There's too much riding around. I'm the type that, when we get in something like this, especially for our all-star race, I want to be, giving it hell and letting it all hang out. And these guys want to ride. I don't, golly, man, let's freaking race. And, Bobby got up there. I know he'd mix it up, and I figured, Matt come along and acted like he wanted to race. So, we went side by side for a while. But all it was my fault. I tried to cross over, and I think I hit the same freaking bump that Larson hit in practice. There's like a bump right there in our early entrance turn 2, and it just bottomed out really hard. And we ate it pretty big. So I'm glad I didn't take out nobody else. I was lapping, but these things are so much fun, man, when you just drive the piss out of them, and that's what I was really wanting to do.
Well, all right. I didn't know that there was a liquid for that inside of the Indy car, but we'll take it. All right. Anybody want to shout out before we go back green? They're in turn 2 right now.
No, I'm going to keep talking to you while they're going green because I'm the show.
Is it Ron?
I'm kidding. No, just everybody.
Team next week.
Ron just left the server. Bye, Ron.
No.
All right. Okay.
No, keep an eye on Cam Stone. He's under the same setup as I was on. Car's fast, wicked fast. So keep an eye on him here late. But everybody at Team Conti Sim Performance, you guys for broadcasting everything that's going on. It was fun. Yeah, we'll see y'all next week at Charlotte.
All right, for the 600. Can't wait for it. All right, thanks for joining us there, Adam. Have fun helping your teammate there, Cameron Stone, trying to win this thing.
Will do.
All right.
Cameron Stone is just a stone's throw away from doing well in this race. That is an absolutely horrendous pun. Thank you so much, DJ, for that in the production truck. Working the graphics. There we go. That is absolutely brilliant. But coming to the restart here in a couple of moments' time, Kirk, this is going to be a feisty one. These drivers, they only have a couple more pit stops in front of them and only about 67 laps left to go, which may seem like a lot. But again, these drivers start off with an even 200. So a lot less time left to go in this race than they did at one point. The green flag is back at. The drivers back on their way down into turn number 1. Long, Stone, Pearson, Hoytsma, and Hutchinson make up your top 5. But Roy, just about everyone left in this race has a pretty fast race car and a pretty good shot to do well here.
Well, just about everybody. I mean, I'm just surprised to see some of the guys up here that were involved in accidents early on still competing, like Llewellyn. I'm stunned he is still out and about and, in the top 10. He's trying his best, but out of 20, it makes sense. We got a lot of cars that got taken out. But still, man, you can see this. They're all so tight-knit, close together. It's going to be a little while to see how they're going to hang on to these cars. With just so few laps to go. When they cross the stripe, it'll be 66 laps to go. That means we can expect from here probably about maybe one more stop, and you'll be able to make it on gas. Right around like 33, 34 laps to go, you'll start seeing them come back down pit lane again.
And when we see those final rounds of pit stops, these drivers probably already running the math through their head, thinking, okay, how's it going to shake out? Will it be under green? Will it be under yellow? Will it be with Bobby Anderson in the race lead? He gets a 2-for-1 deal heading down the backstretch off into turn number 3. Anderson, now your race leader, Long slotted in P2. Stone rounding out your podium. Oh, we still got some very quick racers and some side-by-side racing still. That's involving Llewellyn and McDonald heading their way through the north end of the track, and now may have some 3-wide racing action. Look at that. That's some close quarter stuff with McDonald trying to make up some spots. Just got moved on Jason Taylor, but that nearly ended in tears with a slow run through turn number 1. This battling may be fantastic, but if they start to lose touch with that draft, they're going to drop down like a rock.
I just saw one of the craziest moves I've ever seen in an Indy car. We got Bobby Anderson here. He was running back in like 9th on like a lap ago, but everybody checked up coming out of turn number 4, and he was the only one to make a move, and he passed these guys like they were sitting still a couple laps ago. It was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we got to get that on the camera because that move was nuts. It was a couple laps ago, lap 135, I believe, going into turn number 1. So it was on the exit of turn 4 is where you want to catch it. But that was one of the best moves I've ever seen by a driver in an Indy car. It just looked cool. Let's take a look. See, he's running back here in 9th by himself. He's going to try and make a move on the back bumper here. Dylan that's Simpson right in front. You got Simpson right there. He's going to make a move on the high side. He's going to try and get past him. This is for 8th, by the way. Llewellyn has a meatball flag. We're going to have to take a look and see what's going on with him. But you see this right here? Just flying by like they're standing still, like he's racing on low AI.
I'm not even sure the best way I could describe that. It looks like everybody got whacked with a slowdown heading their way off through the start finish straightaway out of turn number 4, which, I mean, for context, if you got slowdown here at Indy, I think you have some bigger problems on your hands. But look at that. He just kicked on the hyperjets, heading his way down 2 straightaways. Went from what, like P9 all the way up to the race lead in basically the blink of an eye. That worked out fantastic for him. It's worked out horrendously for Daniel Llewellyn. You can see that front right tire is broken off of that race car. I believe it was a moment heading through the south chute. May have been a bit of a stack up, may have been contact with himself and Simpson, caused him to get punted and hit the wall on the outside, spun it and smacked into it.
So Dylan Kritz overdrove turn 1, and because of that, Llewellyn had to check up, and because of that, you saw Simpson, remember, he's really aggressive. He made a move that's really aggressive down to the bottom, and Llewellyn didn't think he was going to do that, came down, made contact, and that will probably take him out of the race. You hate to see it. But up front, Bobby Anderson still has the lead by about a half a second over the rest of the field. They stay green.
Still running green, still running smooth, and for Bobby Anderson, looking to extend that lead between himself and Long. It's been an up-and-down race for the driver of the number 5 car, but he's leading. There's 62 laps left to go. Again, anything can happen between now and the checkered flag, but looking good. He's got the pace in that 5 car. If we have a clean run all the way through to the checkered flag, the only thing that can really get in these drivers' way is going to be that final few pit stops. That's going to be the make or break for these drivers here, Kirk, whether it be a yellow flag pit cycle where a small little mistake and a small bit of time down in your pit stall compared to your competitors may result in you dropping down 3 spots, or whether it be a green flag stop where a mistake on speeding into the pits, running a little bit wide on that access road in the warm-up lane can give you a penalty. This final pit cycle is going to be a masterful one for whoever grabs the win.
That's true. I'm excited to see who's going to be able to get this $200 paycheck here at the end of the day. We're starting to get down to the nitty-gritty of this, and I mean, nobody's really pushing. Remember, we heard it from Adam Benefield earlier. He was saying that everybody's just relaxed and riding around and doing the snake ride right now. Nobody's really making any moves, so we just got to wait for the right time for them to feel like it's more fun to be able to push hard and race. But for right now, we're just going to sit back and watch the snake do its dance, I guess.
See, I don't have a flute, otherwise I would start doing the snake charming music, which nothing would make this audience go away quicker. I can assure you that much. But it's the snaking going on. Anderson was the master of that earlier on in this race. You could just see him wiggling his way down these straightaways, doing it a little bit here with about 59 laps left to go, but nowhere near as pronounced as he did in the earlier stages. So Bobby Anderson may be learning that that's not the best strategy when it comes to fuel use. Maybe just thinking, you know what, there's a lot of time left to go in this race. If they want to catch up, they can catch up. If not, oh well, I'll still hold on to the race lead. I also think these drivers have seen some of the drama that's gone on as of late. Ever since we had that first yellow, have had a bit of a green yellow cycle going on in this race. A little bit stretched out than some usual green yellow cycles, but nevertheless, I think Bobby Anderson is realizing that the rest of the field wants to take it a little bit easy and get into the final, probably the final 25 laps of this race will be when we start to see these drivers turn up the wick.
I hope so. And it's something I like to see is when these guys are starting to actually battle hard up front. We got a little bit of ways to before we get there. 58 to go. But one thing I find enjoyable about when you're coming to the Indianapolis race here and watching on TV coming up here in a couple of weeks is just realizing how fast they're actually going. And to me, it's crazy to me to think that cars can actually do that, stay on the ground, and people have not started like lawsuits about this. Because, you know, in NASCAR, it's so like how we say we got fast once and then almost had a car go in the catch fence and take out a lot of families. So it wasn't right. They slowed down the cars after that. They got scared. But in IndyCar, I mean, that's happened before. We saw that multiple times. Drivers lose their lives all the time when that happens. But still, they choose to go fast. They still choose to keep the cars at a speed where they can take off like they're on a spaceship. And that's okay and all. I mean, you're going to expect that they want this to be the most dangerous race in the world, which is what it is. That's why they made the movie Turbo all about it instead of the Daytona 500. It's the most dangerous one you got is going to be the Indy 500. It's the only one that folks could ever get hurt on. So, but in this particular instance, when we're racing in the sim, no one's going to get hurt. We're just here to have a good time. But still, I'm just talking about the track itself, which is something that I've always had an observation about. I wanted to get your thoughts on it as well while we're talking about it.
You know, I absolutely adore the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I've been here a handful of times in 2016, 2017, 2019. I'm trying to remember. Actually, no, I did not come here in 2019, but I did come here in 2022. I absolutely adore Indianapolis. I love the Speedway. I want to make a pilgrimage out here again just to visit the brand new revamped museum. I talk about this occasionally whenever I'm on some of these broadcasts, but before I got into this broadcasting stuff back in March of 2023 was when I did my first show. Before then, I had a YouTube channel where I'd make videos about IndyCar history and all that stuff, because I absolutely adore IndyCar. Love the history of the Speedway. Opened back in 1909, and the first ever race around here was a balloon race. And interestingly enough, in early 1909, and then later had their first ever auto race on, I think it was Thursday, August 19th of 1909, where Bob Berman was able to cross the line to win that 250-mile, 100-lap-long race there on this track that was originally made up entirely of bricks. A lot of the safety innovations made in motorsport, speaking of the safety side of things here at Indy, lots of them have been made here at the Speedway, whether it be down to just simple track design, as Larry McDonald has picked up a meatball flag, so must have had some sort of drama in the number 80 car. I was going to talk about the barriers around here, and I'll definitely touch back on that point in a couple of moments, but McDonald may be testing them a bit.
Oh, yeah, he got in a big crash. He got a huge accident. On the exit of turn number 2, it looks like he got tight, hit the outside wall, spun down to the inside wall, and hit head on. He is going to be done for the day. Larry McDonald from 10th place is going to be out of the race.
An unfortunate moment for McDonald. It was an up and down race for him in the number 80 car, but it ends here, and you can see the damage on the front end of that race car. The nose cone missing, which is good if you want air conditioning in your Indy car, but not good for anything else. That front left tire also looking like it's more interested in going to Indianapolis Raceway Park a couple of miles away from here than heading your way off into turn number 1. So major damage on that number 80 car, as we still see the drivers at the front pace themselves as it stands a couple of laps away from the final 50 laps of this full-length Cup Challenge All-Star race. A full-length Indy 500 had 20 drivers take the green flag. Not a lot of them left in this race, which has proved to be a challenging one for these competitors. But the one story that I was going to share, see the safer barriers a lot. You see it in IndyCar, you see it around here, you see it in NASCAR, and you're also starting to see it in Formula One at tracks like the Jeddah Corniche circuit and others where they have some very high-speed corners and want to have a bit more padding around the walls. What we ended up seeing was back in the 90s. The fine folks at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway got in touch with the people from the University of Nebraska and developed the safer barriers specifically for IndyCar and specifically for here. This was the first ever track that safer barriers were installed at, and there has been no driver to ever die at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway after hitting a safer barrier.
That's such a good thing to hear, but luckily for us, it won't apply to us much here. But they do need to have a new scan, right? Because aren't the safer barriers now installed all the way around the track? It seems like here it's only in the corners.
Incorrect. This is actually how it still is. They have those constant barriers heading down the start-finish straightaway. And I was watching qualifying for the real-life Indy 500 all throughout today, as Johnny Carson would say on the Tonight Show on another network. And I saw a lot of drivers coming out some of these corners, and that area that the safer barrier would have been was basically where the entirety of their rear tire was. So if we didn't have the safer barriers all the way around this racetrack, we probably would have ended up seeing more drivers hit the wall than they already did in Indy qualifying today.
Yeah, that happened a bunch. We saw a couple cars get up in the air too. That was not fun. Hate to see it. We're getting down to the end of this again, still as we're talking about the racetrack, but let's talk about the drivers out here. You know, these guys, they have all been really good competitive drivers all year. They got Matthew Long, Bobby Anderson, Cameron Stone. These guys have all competed for wins. Neil Pearson running in fourth seems to he hasn't really had that great of a run all year. Maybe top 10s, but top 5s are a little harder to come by for Neil Pearson. So sitting in fourth place, I mean, you got to feel good about this. You're in a good spot as he's able to close up really well. He lifts early to make sure he doesn't rear end them. As they're saving gas, remember that they do have to make it to about 33, 36 laps to go before they're safe on gas. The push hard, I'd say 32 laps. But everybody else, who knows? It just depends. These are the guys that's got to do it. Behind Pearson, Lucas Hoytsma, he's won races. Ralph Hutchinson, he's won races, not yet this year, but he's still sitting outside top 5, has a chance to do it. Jedi Taylor, he has he's one of those guys that definitely have speed. He just hadn't gotten to victory lane yet this year. Dylan Kritz, one of those drivers that can run up front, and he is today surviving to the end. But it just depends on if he's able to make the move at the right time and get the right circumstance to get to the front. And of course, we already talked about Simpson up here. That's a driver who seems to have a lot of aggression. But up in the front, here comes Matthew Long. He's all over the rear bumper. I'm thinking he's interested in maybe making a move. If he would have wanted to, he would have already done it. So I think he's still riding, but he's really close to the back bumper of Bobby Anderson.
Still within striking distance, so I have a feeling we're probably going to see some overtakes start to flare up here soon. Anderson has been punching that hole in the air for quite some time in this stint. Also, speaking of all of that, you gotta wonder when we're gonna see these drivers make that run to come into the pits for either the last or the second to last time. Will Anderson be the first to bite that bullet? He has been the one punching the hole in the air, giving all the drivers behind him the draft. Don't tell me he just disconnected from the session. Please tell me this is just a random blink and that Bobby Anderson didn't just get struck by the immediate commentator's curse there.
It happened to me too. Yeah, he's gone. He's gone.
So Cameron Stone is now your race leader. We have Matthew Long slotted in P2 and Pearson riding at your top 3.
Oh, it's a heartbreak. Maybe he'll come back. I don't know, man. Yeah, he said it's very unfortunate. That's what we heard from Lucas Hoitzma. He went over the radio and said that something must have happened to Bobby. Not sure. I mean, he's not, is he still here? It says he has a quality of 26, which tells me he's having bad quality connection issue.
Yeah, I think with this season of iRacing, once that happens, it'll just immediately yoink you out of the session and set you to be on track by your lonesome. So Bobby Anderson has been sent off to the shadow realm of the number 5 car. A really unfortunate moment for him. I was looking to see what his ping numbers were to see if it was something that I would only see on a Rocket League lobby back in 2018. Saw someone hit 1,000 ping once. But yeah, 66, it must be a connection quality issue for him because... looks like it has, yeah, he's dropped out of the session. So Bobby Anderson...
2 weeks in a row. This happened last week. We saw it with Robert Miller. He was leading the race. He had the race won 2 weeks ago, and he had his connection pop out. So this is 2 of the last 3 weeks when we had a leader have some sort of connection issue drop due to upload packet loss, and they're out of the race. Bobby's not going to keep his 200 today, unfortunately, it looks like.
You know, I'm not even going to mince words. That's a kick in the nuts, really. I mean, he had such good pace here at Indy, was running strong, was running comfortably, and he was in the race lead just in his own cruising lane. But now, shows you how quickly things can change here at Indy. The amount of drivers who have had races fall through their fingers right towards the end. I could go off on a list of just basically every single year that something like that has happened. Scott Goodyear, 95. The list really goes on. So I'm just going to say that for the number 5 of Bobby Anderson, that is so unfortunate. But hey, that's one thing when it comes to sim racing. In real life, you could have a parts failure, a catastrophic one while you're on track for a race win. Here in the sim, have a connection issue. The only difference is, instead of calling up to curse out the parts manufacturer, you call up to curse out your cable provider.
Oh, man, I would not want to be on the other end of that phone call. Not a fan of that one at all. But what I can tell you, up front, Cameron Stone, we were talking about it, remember earlier when Adam Benefield said that this guy had a good set underneath him, and now he's the leader of this race. And he has a chance to win, and he hasn't won in a handful of a couple of years actually since his last win. And I spoke with him before, and that man, he said if he wins this year, he's going to have one heck of a post-race interview, and I'm excited to see if that's something we might see. He's leading it. He's got 42 to go, but remember, we got one more pit cycle. They will be coming down pit lane within the next 10 laps, I think, is when we're going to see him come down.
I can imagine that interview. It's like, yeah, welcome into the commentary booth. Congratulations on your first win in quite some time here in the FLCC world. How was it out there? Man, Ron, let me tell you, I am one happy son of a, and we're off the air.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he's going to do that, but we'll have to see. You never know. Don't give it to him too early. Come on, we got 41 to go. We got a long way to go.
Yeah, still a long time left.
Yeah, but here's what I can tell you. With this whole group up here in the front, I'm just surprised that they have stuck together so well. You know, I'd expect somebody to, like, back off a little bit, but it seems like everybody is still within the draft, still within reach. I mean, you know, Simpson's pushing it, but he still has a fast car. He still has the fastest lap of the day. So, I mean, he'll be back, and so is the rest of these guys. But you do not expect to see anybody coming down until at the very minimum of 36 laps to go. So they're crossing the line for 40. So that means maybe another 4 laps before we start seeing some pit stops. And that is going to be the money stop.
Yeah, and when these drivers make that run through pit lane for the final time, that's going to set ourselves up for an absolutely fantastic finish here at Indy. These drivers looking for bragging rights to win this race, and they're also looking for a $200 paycheck at the end of it all. Who's going to reach that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow first, and who's going to get snubbed out? Let's just wait and see how it's going to shake out right towards the end of it all here. Coming towards the end, we are now under 50 laps left in this race, and now the pressure is ramping up. These drivers trying to use what they've learned in the earlier stages of this race and maybe apply that as best as they possibly can right at the very end of this. But this track is continuing to this track is continuing to evolve. Second tries a charm with that pronunciation. Track temperature is currently 112 degrees, which is about 3 degrees lower than it was not terribly long ago. Now, it may not seem like much, but when it comes to Indy cars barreling around an asphalt bowl at about 220 miles an hour, 3 degrees may as well be the sun moved about 1 million miles closer to the Earth.
It really does affect. Every single temperature marker does do a little justice towards the car, but I'm getting down to the point where I'm getting a little excited now. Once you get to this point, it's when the racers really start turning on the jets, and you got to get into a position where you feel good about coming into the pit lane. So right now, the best position that we have on the racetrack is Cameron Stone. He's leading this thing. He wants to pit from the lead. That's always the goal. Pit from the highest spot compared to everybody else, so you have a little bit more advantage compared to everybody else. But there's also a danger that comes with that, because if you make the move, someone might make the move because you made the move, which means everybody's going to follow you, and they're going to hit the brakes slightly after you, which would mean that there might be a chance for contact. So you always want to watch on these laps that they can come in as they cross the stripe. That is the 37 to go mark. So in the next lap, so the next 5 laps, we'll see them come down. We'll have to see when they choose to do it, but it's within the next 5 to 6 laps.
And because of the way things are looking at the present moment, they are very likely going to be green flag pit stops. And when we think about green flag pit stops here, Kirk, we got to think about all the challenges that come along with it. Pulling your way off the track, coming out of turn number 4 at as close to terminal velocity as you can possibly get. I mean, hey, these racers heading their way off through the final corner right now, they're going a steady click of about 215 miles an hour at their slowest on corner exits. Some of them are scraping 225. So going from that, slowing yourself up all the way down to 60 miles an hour, which is the pit lane speed limit here at Indianapolis, that is challenging. We've seen so many drivers lock up their tires. We've seen the best of the best in real life throw away a good result because of pit lane speeding penalty right at the end. So I can't rule it out. This is going to be a heck of a lot of fun, and this is going to be stressful for these competitors. One mistake can make or break your race, and for Stone, he's going to be the first one that these drivers are going to look at. Will he be the first to come into the pits? That is a real question.
$200 are on the line. They just entered the pit cycle window. It is open. The door is wide open. They can choose to pit at any time. Cameron Stone, Matthew Long, and Neil Pearson, your top 3, each with a dream of winning at Indianapolis. One of them is going to have the opportunity to do it, and maybe someone even farther back has a chance to do it as well. Lucas Hoysma, Ralph Hutchinson, Jedi Taylor, Dylan Kritz, and Simpson are all here trying to be a winner at the Brickyard. It's one of the most amazing feats anybody can do, and it looks like Bobby Anderson, oh, right in the pit lane, here we go. First leader down, that is Cameron Stone. This is his move to win the race. He's got to have a flawless pit stop. Let's see if he's able to do it. He's hanging on. It does not look like that we have any black flags so far. We'll see if he's able to do it. Coming to this pit stop, right on the mark.
And he was very cautious on pit entry as well, slowing down to the high 30s. So that may be a big difference at the end of it all. It may not seem like much, but it can make a huge difference. Let's see how it works out for Cameron Stone. He's out of pit lane now while he's still in pit lane, out of his pit box, trundling his way through to the end as here's Long coming into the pits from the race lead. He's going to be joined by 2 cars right behind him. You can see being joined in the pits by the likes of Hutchinson, I believe, and actually no, that's Kritz and Simpson, my apologies, following in tow. So P5, P6, and P7 all coming into the pits together. Pearson now jumping into the race lead. Lucas Hoysma a 1/10 of a second back, and Hutchinson running at your top 3 as it stands presently up on the jacks in the pit stall. Who's going to be the first to go out and away? There's Matthew Long, 9 seconds stopped in his pit stall. Jacob Simpson still out right now. It was a great stop from Long. Not a good one for Kritz, 9.4 second stop, and Simpson at 9.7. So that was truly a great stop for Matthew Long. These drivers at the front staying out for one more lap.
They are just continuing on, but right now you see these leaders, Pearson, Hoytsma, Hutchinson, and Taylor. All of these guys have got to come right back down pit lane. Now let's see the big move right here. Does Cameron Stone hang on to the spot? Cameron Stone Let's see if he's able to hang on. It looks like he will not. Matthew Long jumps him in the pits. Matthew Long will have the lead, but they are nose to tail in turns 3 and 4. The rest of the leaders here, they will have to pit again. But the real battle for the lead is going to be between Cameron Stone and Matthew Long. Those are the top two. As it looks like the leaders now, one of them head down pit lane. It looks like the only one to come down right there. You can see that's Pearson. His time is now. But the leader of the race, still Matthew Long, is going to be the leader when this all cycles through, unless we can see some amazing comeback from the rest of these three.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge comeback required, but hey, we've seen Stranger Things, and we're not talking about the show on Netflix. 31 to go. Let's see what Hoytsma's going to do. He has a 1 second gap between himself and Hutchinson. This may be it for Lucas Hoytsma. With the amount of time left to go in this race, this is the final stop, and this is the money stop for these competitors as well. It can make or break your race. These drivers hoping their race is made through this all. Hoytsma staying at yet again. Hutchinson, on the other hand, he's going to be coming into the pits. You can see him right there, heading his way down to pit lane, but he picks up a black flag. That had to have been a pit lane speeding penalty, so Hutchinson got to get knocked out of it.
Yeah, but on the backstretch, we got to go to the backstretch. Matthew Long is catching up to the back bumper of Neil Pearson. This is for the lead once this all cycles through. He's going to the outside. This is for the win, for the lead of the Indianapolis 500. He's not able to hang on to it, and the leader is going to continue to be Matthew Long once this all cycles through. You hate to see it for Ralph Hutchinson. Penalty definitely going to throw his day off, but right now only 3 cars are within reach of this top spot, with only 2 in a distant far back. They are approximately about a second and a half back. I think that they're going to be able to catch this group, and it's going to be a 5-car battle for the win of the Indianapolis 500, unless we have more cars that have yet to pit somehow get an amazing pit stop. Another black flag, Jason S. Taylor, Jedi, not going to win today here at Indy. He's going to have to come back down. Everybody else, the top 5 here, that once they cycle through, will be Matthew Long, Neil Pearson, Cameron Stone, Jacob Simpson, and Dylan Kritz. Right now, those are the drivers who have a chance right now. But we have someone exiting pit lane right now as we speak. 3 cars. Lucas Hoytsma is one of them. Jason Taylor, who is a penalty car, he will have to get out of the way. And Ralph is also a penalty car, so both of them will not matter. But the only one who will is Lucas Hoytsma. He's exiting the pit lane right now. He's well ahead of the Matthew Long. So that would put Lucas Hoytsma in the lead of this race by a huge margin.
And he's got draft assistance. You can see the 60 of Jason S. Taylor right in front. And hey, talking about Taylor on the penalty, he picked up right in tow with Hutchinson. If you ever thought that target fixation in the world of iRacing was a fake thing, that just about proved that it is absolutely real. Tailing the ace who sped, and he sped himself. So that is going to be a game-changing penalty for both of those two. But this is going to be a game-changing penalty for Hoytsma as well. He didn't pick up a penalty and all that. Instead, he's picking up a draft. That 2.7 second gap would be very easily surmountable with 28 laps left to go in this race if it wasn't for that draft. But because of it, you can see that gap is now growing long, now 3 seconds in tow of Hoytsma. And he's also got the likes of Pearson, Stone, Simpson, and Kritz running right behind. So we may have to think about Hoytsma trying to pull away.
Yeah, no, Lucas actually just passed both of those cars. He is now leading that line. As it looks like, let's take a look at the lap times right now. Lucas Hoytsma, the leader of the race, he ran last lap a 40.975. The next group behind him ran a 41.6. They are losing time to Lucas. Lucas has got this in the bag unless this second pack can organize themselves and push each other to go faster and faster to catch up to the back bumper of Lucas Hoytsma to take this win away. They have 27 laps to do it here from Indianapolis. Any one of them can do it, but they gotta stay organized. They gotta work as a team, and I'm excited to see if they're gonna be able to do it. Up front, they have been swapping spots back and forth, Long and Pearson, back and forth, just right every single time that they go on a straightaway. And I think that might be a benefit to them. They crossed the stripe that last time running a 41.371. The car that they're chasing ran a 41.3784. So just 1/100th of a second gain. Not much at all. Right now, Lucas has got this by 3 seconds. They're going to have to make up 3 seconds in less than 25 laps.
Yeah, and as much as it's not entirely out of the picture to be able to do, that's going to require a heck of a lot of effort to be able to usurp a gap like that. Let's see, though. They're side by side, heading down the start-finish straightaway, off into turn number 1. Long looking to jump his way up into the race lead. And now, as much as we talk about this gap, that could all change in the blink of an eye if we have another yellow. But at the same time here, Kirk, there's just not a lot of drivers out there on the racetrack. If we have another yellow, if we have another crash, what are the chances that it's actually going to bring out another yellow? I can imagine rather slim.
I mean, if we get a crash, it would have to be in the right spot at the right time, but I don't even want to think about that. We got plenty of racing to go here, 25 laps to go in this race. They have been swapping spots back and forth on purpose to try and give each other, like, essentially, like slingshots to get by each other so they can try and catch back down Lucas Hoytsma. But in reality, they don't have to catch Lucas until the end. The only one they really have to catch is going to be Jedi Taylor. He's in 8th place on the tail end of the lead lap, and he's the 3rd car in line. So in reality, that car, Jason S. Taylor, only has to gain maybe, and the rest of the field here has to gain only on Jedi Taylor. So they only have to gain like less than 2.5 seconds. And this last time by, they ran a 41.4. But the leaders are running 41.3s. And now they're going to cross the stripe. I'll give you the lap times as well to make sure that we take a look and see if they're making up any ground. This time it was a 41.4 for Jason S. Taylor. And this last time by, it was a 41.2. So they gained 0.2 of a second that time. And they're going to try and see if they can continue gaining that ground.
And, you know, as much as I see this a lot on these broadcasts where you need to go about sawing a gap in half methodically, it's like trimming your nails. You don't attack them with a chainsaw, you use a nail file. It's gotten to the point where I feel like they may need to break out that chainsaw and break out the can of starter fluid with it as well, because that gap is rather big. On 23 laps left to go, shaving it by 0.2 of a second every single lap. We'll average that out to about, I don't know, a 1/10.5. No, you know, we'll just say 2.2 for convenience. So that's not going to be a very good winning strategy. There just won't really be enough time to be able to pull that gap in. So really, and if Hoytsma doesn't put a foot wrong, it may end up being his. Pearson and Long, they keep going side by side. That game of leapfrog is still intense between those competitors. So, I don't know. I think they need to maybe switch up their strategy because this is not working out too well for them.
No, it's not. But I can tell you right now what is working. Ralph Hutchinson Motorsports. Turns out the top 3 are all teams. They're all in the same group, right? They're all in the same team chat right now. They're with Ralph Hutchinson Motorsports, the top 3. In terms of position on the track, not the top 3 in running order. You got Jedi Taylor, Ralph Hutchinson, of course, and Lucas Hoytsma. They are all in a team. And they are working together to try and stretch this to the end and make sure that second pack does not catch them. Even though Ralph and even though Jedi are a lap down, in normal circumstances, if you're a lap down and the leader's right in front of you, you got to do whatever it takes to try and take that spot away. But these guys know in their head exactly what they're doing. They have got to ride right behind them and protect this lead for the team. That's what they're doing right now. With about 20 laps to go in this race, it has become team orders. These guys have now single filed out for the front 3, and everybody else behind does not seem to have the speed to be able to catch them back down. If you look at the lap time, the differential, it's been hovering at 3.6 ever since the pit cycle. So I do not think that they're going to be able to chase back down this pack of 3. It might just be Lucas Hoytsma driving off into the sunset with the rest of his Ralph Hutchinson Motorsports team.
Hey, teamwork makes the dream work, and we're seeing that get put on full display at the north end of the field. Meanwhile, behind, Pearson and Long continue to battle. It looks like that fight for second and third, they will not be able to form at least a temporary truce and reel that gap in. With 3.5 seconds being the gap and about 18 and a half laps left to go in this race, they would have to close up that gap by about 0.2 every single lap, which they can do every now and then, but usually in the process of gaining 0.2, they lose 0.2 the following lap. That gap gap has just about plateaued at 3.5 seconds. So it looks like that battle for P2 and P3, the final podium spots, will be the one to keep our eyes on, as at the front of the field. Hoytsma not only has a comfortable gap, not only has a nice cushion, he's got backup.
Yeah, and also you got to remember this second and third place guy, they are teammates. Pearson and Long, they run for Dirty South Racing. They're a part of the team with Bobby Anderson and Andrew Dyson. Dyson's out and Bobby's out, but Neil and Matt, these guys are trying to carry the banner for Dirty South, trying to get them to work together to get towards the front. And right behind him, you got Dylan Kritz, who's kind of just on his own right now. He doesn't really have any teammates, so he's just refined a spot and he's riding in it and hoping for the best. They're gonna have to have something happen within the next handful of laps. It's down to 3.4 seconds this time by. I don't know if it's going to be enough. They're really going to need to pick up the speed now to be able to make this be anywhere near competitive at the lead of this race for the $200 bill. And right now, Pearson and Long, essentially, they are going to get nothing unless they catch back up to that back bumper. And you can see they're getting sniff of the draft, but not quite any real effects from it until you get to about maybe 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, right around there. And that's when you really start getting a pull. But take a look at this. Just as last time by, Long is at 3.3 seconds behind. I think they got a sniff, and it's actually pulling on him slightly.
And that is going to be a good inroad to make, but will it be enough at the end of it all? Some side-by-side racing still going on involving Pearson and Long. They've been swapping spots. It hasn't even been a matter of lap after lap. It's been a matter of they swap into turn 1, they swap into turn 3, they swap into turn 1, turn 3, turn 1, turn 3, turn 1, turn 3. They just keep going back and forth on each other. It's maybe a good strategy, potentially. I mean, the gap isn't increasing, but at the same time, it's not necessarily making huge inroads to decrease either. 16 to go, coming to 15 this time by for Lucas Hoytsma in the number 97 car. A very quick driver in the full-length Cup Challenge Series, and here in the All-Star race, it's looking good for him.
I mean, at this point, I don't know if I would be doing this type of move. I mean, you would have to really work hard to make that work. I mean, I would probably have that last car in the lead draft section working as a team, all these guys, not just the front two. The back three aren't really helping that much. They need to get caught up to be able to be a part of this. But that gap has shrunk. We're now down to 2.9 seconds. So it's going to keep closing. That is good. We're starting to see some closing in from second on forward. So this is working for them. This last time by, they ran a 41.3. The guys up front, they ran a 41.7. So, I mean, they are gaining 0.3 a lap right now on them. So it is not over.
And when we think about those pit stops that we saw earlier on, I wonder if any of these drivers are maybe having to just save fuel to make it to the checkered flag. Surely not, but at the same time, some quick stops for some of these racers. You can never be 100% positive. Swapperoo yet again, Long into P2, Pearson up into, back down to third. And looking through the rest of the drivers involved in this pack, you can see Stone in the number 57 car hasn't really gotten involved in this battle. He's just been running in tow, looking at those drivers battle tooth and nail right in front. He's probably just sitting there thinking, okay, if these two go into the wall, I'll be able to go on the inside and gain 2 spots in the span of 1 single corner. You also got the likes of Kritz in the number 64 and Simpson in the number 2. Simpson still holding on to the fast lap of the race as it stands presently. 4 seconds back of your race leader of Hoytsma, who is still extending that gap. It has ballooned out again to 2.8 seconds, 2.8, 2.7. A bit farther down than what it once was, but again, not many major inroads being made by these two that we see on screen.
It's going to be exponential growth. And so what that means is that every lap they're going to gain more and more and more as they catch more and more and more of the draft of the 3 cars that they're trying to catch. And it looks like it's actually going to happen. I think that we might see them catch up to them. It's getting to the point where they're at 2.5, 2.6 in that range. And once they start hitting the close mark, which is, they are so close to hitting that mark, it's going to be lightning fast. They're going to catch them so quick, and it's going to be amazing. But Lucas Hoytsma right now is driving the wheels off that thing, hoping his teammates do all the work so he could just run to the end. These 2 cars that are a lap down, they are going to be blocking like crazy, making sure these guys do not get by to try and protect Lucas Hoitzma's lead. But these two from Dirty South are going to do whatever it takes to get by him. That's what you got to do when you're racing for $200. You're here at Indianapolis, 11 laps to go. You got to chase them down. You're at 2.2 now. We're to the point where they are going to get a draft very shortly, and we're going to see that draft just absolutely make a huge deal once they get there. They are so close.
Yeah, 2.4 seconds is now the gap between Hoitzma and Long. Will we see any major inroads being made here? 2.3. It's closing up slowly but surely. Coming at 10 to go this time by for your race leader of Lucas Hoitzma. Got to see another swap-a-roo between Long and Pearson. I don't like this strategy of them swap-a-rooing all the time. Granted, they aren't losing major time, but they're not making big inroads either. If it were me, albeit a very good reason why I'm behind the microphone instead behind the wheel, I'd say pick one car, have them be the leader, and catch your way up to Hoitzma. Not go with this ticky-tack stuff going back and forth, back and forth. They've been swapping spots, heading down through the north end and the south end of the track every single lap now for what probably feels like the past 15 laps. It's getting a little bit monotonous seeing those drivers just constantly
it's smart.
swap.
I think it's smart here. I mean, these guys are doing it so good that the leaders have started taking that strategy into play. We just saw Jedi Taylor do the same thing to Lucas Hoitzma for the lead. They're doing the swaps as well. Both of them are doing swaps. The moment that they started doing swaps, that gap stopped climbing, stopped shortening. So with 9 to go, the leaders have saw what Neil and Matthew were doing, and they stole the idea, and now they're trying to hang on to it.
Now let's see if it works. 9 to go, coming at 8 this time by, and it's a 2.5 second gap between Hoitzma and Long. It is closing up slowly but surely, gradually working at it with that nail file, and will they be able to close it up entirely? Once they get within that 1 second window, that gap is going to disappear in the blink of an eye. The draft in these Indy cars usually will last about the entirety of some of the straightaways around here. You can get a draft of a car heading down into turn number 1 if you are just out of turn 4. So the draft is strong, but obviously once you get closer to the car, it gets a heck of a lot stronger. So with 2.5 seconds being the gap and the swap-a-roo strategy clearly being the one that these drivers fancy, even though I don't really have a good feeling about it if I am being totally honest. It looks like that gap has remained at 2.5 seconds. It's teetering between 2.3 to 2.5.
Yeah.
Hoitzma now with 7 to go.
Ever since they started doing this, yeah, who told the leaders? Yeah, that's exactly my thought. I'm like, who on earth told Hoitzma to do that? Hoitzma, I mean, like, why would you tell him? I mean, that was it. I mean, they got two, remember, they got two guys that are out of the race, currently sitting in the pits, watching the race with them. So that's probably where they got the message from some team members in Ralph Hutchinson Motorsports, seeing that this is working for them. They're trying it themselves, and it is working. However, that just means it's evened it out. Now it's 2.5, 2.4, staying right around that mark. It hit 2.1 for a split second there. You saw that. That's pretty good for them. They'll have to, I don't know, man. It's going to get close. I don't think it's going to be enough. Not anymore. When they started copying it, like, I kind of felt like that was probably the nail in the coffin. So we'll have to see if it works.
Oh, they
are putting everything into it.
Yeah, Pearson nearly struck the wall coming out of turn number 1. He's putting it on the ragged edge of control, and still want to keep tabs on the number 57 of Cameron Stone. He may get involved in this battle if those two drivers in front of him have some sort of extracurricular drama. It'll be 5 to go at the line this time by for Hoitzma, and it's a 2.2 second gap. They finally broken past that 2.3 window. Now maybe gonna scrape below 2 seconds in the coming laps. This may be the charge. They're closing up yet again. There we go. Under 2 seconds. That's the first time we've seen it in quite some time. Now 1.8, 1.7. Maybe gonna hit 1.6 here in a couple of moments' time. Hoitzma, Long, and Pearson. This may be a 3-car battle soon.
I don't know if he's going to be able to get there. It's so close. I mean, it's going to be really close. Oh, man, this is getting exciting. I thought for a minute that you weren't going to get there, but now that we're getting down to 1.6, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. And I think it's more Matthew Long. They stopped doing the swap. And the moment they stopped doing the swap, Matthew Long has taken off in a rocket ship. They have zoomed out ahead. And now he's going to be there. He's there. He's got the draft.
Oh, and you can see that with the understeer through turn number 1. Oh, so close to hitting that wall on corner exit. 4 to go here at Indy, and Hoytsma has a 1.1 second lead. The Swaparoo continuing. Those two teammates of Long and Pearson, they decide, okay, Matthew, this is your race to win. If you're going to win it for the team and win it in that number 28 car. That gap has one more barrier left to climb. Once he breaks within below a second, that's going to help him out a lot. But he's coming into the pits. This has got to be for fuel.
There's no way. Why is he pitting for gas? What is happening right now? That wasn't a part of the calculation at all. They were saving for the entirety of the first round and made it to 36. Maybe it's because they were saving so dang much. I'm dumbfounded. Why did he pit with 4 to go in the Indy 500? I don't know. I mean, are they all gonna have to pit now? I have no idea what we're doing.
There's no way that wasn't down to anything other than fuel. That had to have been a
Cameron Stone. Keep an eye on Cameron. He was saving that whole time. That's going to be the race win right here if he's able to beat Hoytsma. Hoytsma was trying to hold off the rest of the guys. I don't know if it's going to happen for him or not, but we got 3 laps to go, and he's on the back bumper.
Yeah, and you can see that gap is now about 3/4 of a second, I should say, heading through the south end of the track. Hoytsma in the number 97 car, Cameron Stone in the number 57. They are about nose to tail. 1 second is the gap as they head their way down the back straightaway with 2 to go. They're going to be taking the white flag this time by. If they're going to come to the end, they're going to have to stay out. Hoytsma has broken free. These 2 cars, though, that's Taylor and Hutchinson battling tooth and nail. That's going to be a bit of a rolling roadblock for Cameron Stone in the 57. They nearly come to blows. That's a 60, and the 57 nearly touching through the final turn. The white flag in the air for Lucas Hoytsma. 1 more lap of racing action and $200 at the end of it all for whoever can cross that start-finish line at first. Hoytsma, the 97, he has a 1.2, now 1.3 second gap, heading his way out of turn number 2 onto the back straightaway for the final time. Cameron Stone had a whole lot of momentum, but once he caught up to those 2 team cars of Jason S. Taylor and Ralph Hutchinson, it allowed Hoytsma to shake him off like a bad case of the fleas, heading his way through turn number 4 for the final time. Lucas Hoytsma, one of the standout stars in the full-length Cup Challenge, as they nearly wreck. They wreck coming out of the final corner. A huge one upside down is the number 57 of Stone. Hoytsma wins at $200 at the end of it all, and my God, upside down. That is Ralph Hutchinson in pit lane. That's a 57 of Cameron Stone. He nearly had a shot to win it. He nearly ended up in P2. Instead, he's not going to cross the line at all.
And it's something that you got to at least admire about Ralph Hutchinson Motorsports. They were able to do this to a T. Use the lap cars as picks, blocking off the rest of the cars that were charging, trying to catch back up to him. And in that moment, he did everything he could to try and make a move, but unfortunately got loose, and he had nowhere to go because he had a couple lap cars blocking his way. So good for the winner, bad for the rest of the field, it looks like.
And holy cow, you can see that T-bone collision between Ralph Hutchinson and Cameron Stone. Lands on his lid, hits the concrete barrier, scrapes the catch fence as well. My, oh my, that was a heartbreaking way to finish it all if you are Cameron Stone. As I said, had the opportunity to win this race. Instead, he doesn't even finish in P2. I think he is going to be classified all the way down in, I'm looking through. According to my tower, he is going to be classed in 6th, albeit I will wait for further word as to whether or not that will be updated here in a few moments' time. Lucas Hoytsma is burning it down. He is your winner at the end of this race here at Indianapolis. Walks away with a $200 paycheck at the end of it all. As you can see him committing the cardinal sin, potentially burning it down on the yard of bricks. We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back to break down that finish, because holy cow.
You want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
From the simulators to your screens, this is the pinnacle of iRacing competition. Welcome to the Full Length Cup Challenge.
Back again here on Maconi Entertainment after a heart-pumping finish to the end of the Full-Length Cup Challenge All-Star race here at Indianapolis. The full-length Indy 500 at the end of it all is won by Lucas Hoytsma. The Indiana native is going to be sipping the milk in victory lane. He finishes in first in front of Neil Pearson in second. Dylan Kritz rounds out your podium in third. Following them, it's the likes of Jacob Simpson finishing in fourth. Matthew Long had a really good shot to do well at the end of this race, but runs out of fuel right towards the end. He finishes in P5, the last of the cars to take the checkered flag on the lead lap. Cameron Stone is classed in P6. Jason S. Taylor is classed in P7. Ralph Hutchinson finishes in 8th. Bobby Anderson finishes in 9th, with Larry McDonald rounding out your top 10.
Finishing in 11th place spot tonight will be Daniel Llewellyn, then Adam Benefiel, Andrew Dyson, Billy Brickley, Jeremy Clapper-Newell, Cody Porter, Cliff Mullins, Dave Hoytsma, Corey Cook, and Victor Fluger round out the back 20, and all of our starters for tonight's race.
And as we have the results taken care of, we're going to move off into the interviews. And the first driver that I want to have a chat with is going to be our P3 finisher at the end of this race. A driver who I had pinned as being a hard charger all throughout. He ends up in third at the end of it all. It is Dylan Kritz now joining us here in the commentary booth. Dylan, welcome in to the commentary booth. Congratulations on the podium at the end of this race. How about you talk us through this wild run at Indy?
Yeah, man. It was definitely one of the longer races that I've been in. Just sitting there, and it was a lot of fuel saving. But sometimes you just get a lucky turn of events. You're able to make it in the top 3 and survive. Hate it for what happened at the end there. I think I just got really lucky. Was able to make it up there. Good work out there today from RHM. Working together. Able to come out with a really strong finish. So,
and I can imagine you are very pleased about your run here in this event. A bit of a one-off here in the Full-Length Cup Challenge, but still just as challenging as all the races have been thus far this year. I want to ask you about your perspective in dealing with the pit stop situations, dealing with a hard-pumping racing action, and just dealing with all the stuff that was baked into this race.
yeah, I mean, the pit stops were it was a mixed bag for me, because really at the end there, what had happened is there's a bit of a mix-up. Going to turn 2, got choked up and had to really burn some fuel, and so it was just kind of a fuel-saving game, making sure to stretch it as long as you could. I avoided speeding today. That's a huge one. That got a couple guys. It's really all you can ask for is just clean execution on pit stops at least. It's, I think, half the reason why I'm talking to you guys right now.
Hey, you kept it clean, you kept it smooth, and you were able to grab a podium at the end of it all. We have 1 week until we get loaded for the next round of the Full-Length Cup Challenge, the Coke 600. That's going to be a really tough battle. So I want to ask you about your thoughts heading into the next race of the regular season.
So I'm usually doing part-time here, and when I show up, I like to get a top 20, have a clean finish if I can. Sometimes I drive a little bit over my head, and I know that. It's just got to be calm, cool, collected. Coke 600 is a long race. Just be smart. It's kind of the same thing as I did today. If I can take that there to Charlotte, I think it'll be a good race.
And I'll be keeping tabs on you in that number 64 machine to see what you can do come time for that race at Charlotte in 1 week's time, Dylan. But thank you so much for joining us here in the commentary booth. And before we let you go and celebrate this podium, is there anybody you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Shout out Sean O'Brien Jr. for painting this sick-looking race car. Beautiful. Love Quick Trip. Love the Bucks. Shout out RHM. And shout out Road America. Great racetrack. Go there.
You know, as someone who's been a member of the SCCA since 2014, I feel like I need to go out to the runoffs this year, or maybe next, because I think they do have the deal inked to run there in 2026. But regardless, Dylan, thank you for joining us here on the commentary booth. Well done on the podium, and excited to see you back out on the racetrack in the Cup car in the Coke 600 next week.
Hey, thanks.
And that right there was a number 64 year P3 finisher of Dylan Kritz. And Kirk, I'll let you have a chat with our P2 finisher of Neil Pearson.
Neil Pearson, Dirty South Motorsports, congratulations on second place. I just want to ask you, can you take us through those final laps, 2 lap cars between you and the leader? Did it feel like you were chasing a race car, or you're trying to break through airport security trying to get through those guys?
Airport security trying to get through them. You know, it's teammates, you do what you do, you know, get the win. It's a bit disappointing, but from my perspective, because I was hoping to be a bit closer to Lucas, but what can you do?
Absolutely. I got to ask you, Matthew Long, your own teammate, pits with 4 laps to go, and then suddenly the entire Ralph Hutchinson squad forms a moving wall. What exactly happened to Matthew there? When you guys were working together, doing a swap back and forth, what would you say happened there at the end?
It was all about the previous run. Matt pitted, I think a couple of laps before me, so he was always going to be a bit short. He really needed the draft, so basically us being leading did not help him at all.
I see, that makes sense. But if the roles were reversed, and let's just say today in your race, did it go to plan? Did you have a good time? And also, is there anybody you'd like to shout out?
Everything went to plan. I mean, second place I'm pretty happy with. I don't drive these cars very often, so I just qualified at the back and just felt it and just tried to get a feel. And, I think I did pretty good and didn't cause anything stupid, so that's the fun part. Big thanks to Bobby for the league, everyone who showed up. It's a bit disappointing not everyone showed up, because this was just a great little thing for us to do. My Australian teammates for the support, Daiso for being there. He had a little bit of a hiccup, but it was good fun. And yeah, you guys for the broadcast, can't wait to watch it back.
I hope you find enjoyment in it. It was a lot of fun recording it. Great job out there getting second place. Ron, back to you.
Thank you very much there, Kirk. That right there was your P2 finisher of Neil Pearson. And I've been able to have a chat with the number 97, our race winner at the end of it all, and a man who's now $200 richer, Lucas Huisman, joining us here in the commentary booth. Lucas, how's that milk taste? Congratulations on the victory.
Oh, it tastes absolutely delicious, man. This was, I have had a rough go of it these last 2 weeks. I've been trying to run the official Indy 500s, and I have not had one clean race, whether it's my fault or getting caught in something. And tonight, it just all came together, and I was luckily able to save a ton of fuel there at the end. And the entire race we were saving fuel. I don't think there was one moment where I wasn't saving gas until that last run where I was good to the end. We just happened to keep getting those cautions right on the edge where you'd have to save gas, and it ended up making everybody just run single file the whole time. So sorry to you guys for having to witness that the whole time, but in the driver's seat, it was a lot of fighting with fuel mileage, and it was really fun for me. That was a ton of fun, and I can't believe it. To win here at the Brickyard, that's awesome.
Yeah, don't feel sorry for us. That was still a pretty fun race to cover, albeit I'm definitely a little bit biased. I absolutely adore IndyCar. But I want to ask you about your perspective when it comes to that fuel and strategy situation. I personally love a little bit of strategy, and you certainly get that in spades with these IndyCars here on iRacing. But from your perspective behind the wheel, that has just got to be the absolute pinnacle definition of tense.
Yeah, it's just the entire time staring at my fuel numbers, making sure I'm on that number. And I've never fuel saved for that long, just constantly. I'm glad I had some help there with it. Had a spotter tonight, so that was really helpful for me. I could kind of keep my eyes on the road, and he could let me know what my fuel was looking like. So got to thank Sheets for that, and everybody on RHM had a great car here. Not usually what we drive here on Saturdays, but we still got a good one. And oh man, that was so cool.
And now that you got the thanks and shouts out early, I need to ask you about one singular question. Now, I did a 100 lap, 250 mile long race here at Indy the other day, and you were the second Indiana native to win a race here at the Brickyard and then burn it down on the Yard of Bricks. So I always thought that was just like the worst thing that you could do. So anything to say for yourself for burning it down on the bricks?
Fake Indiana native here. Came from Illinois a few years ago, so screw them bricks. I'm burning it down. This car needs to sing.
And as someone who absolutely loves the Indy 500, I will now kick you out of my commentary booth. Lucas, congratulations on the win here today.
I appreciate it.
And that right there was a man who's probably going to get cursed by the iRacing gods. Last person I saw do something like that DNF'd in the next 3 times they tried to qualify for this week's iRacing Indy 500. But Kirk, we can leave the Brickyard in our rearview mirror, at least for now. We'll be visiting that in a couple of months' time for the Brickyard 400. But here in 1 week's time on Maconi Entertainment, the Coke 600, that is going to be a long one.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited for the overtime. I'm excited for that one. The Coke 600, we got a full field 45 cars going to be there next week, and it is going to be the most fun that you'll see on iRacing. These guys are going to try and compete for the biggest title that, in my opinion, the current crown jewel that really all the drivers really want to go for these days. I mean, you know, Daytona Talladega is kind of a crapshoot, but here at Charlotte, it's where the drivers come to drive, and I think that Charlotte's going to be the biggest race of the year for the Coke 600, and I cannot wait to be there on May 24th at 8:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Maconi Entertainment. It's going to be a great time.
If you don't want to miss out on the racing action, happy to subscribe to Maconi Entertainment and hit that notification bell so you get notified every single time we go live. But here at the Brickyard for this all-star race, I think that will just about do it. And so for myself, Ron Mullins, Kirk Mills joining me in the commentary booth, and DJ Lyons doing a wonderful job working all the cameras and the graphics and the virtual production hauler, we congratulate our winner, Lucas Hoytsman, winning the $200 paycheck. And thank you to all of you for tuning into this broadcast on Maconi Entertainment tonight, and we hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant future.
Want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.